Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the European Technology Network. The day is Thursday, 30th of October. The time is 11:06, and boy, do we have some breaking news today.
Exciting stuff.
Legora has raised 150 million Series C, 1.8.
Wham Bam Series C.
Wham Bam Series C.
80 million Series B, I believe.
Hot off the press. Max
Exciting
will
stuff.
be joining us live to break down the raise at 12 p.m. That is only an hour and 53 minutes away.
Go and get a coffee, go and get an Attis salad, sit down and watch Max break it down with us.
Get your
Talking about Legora.
espressos. Tell your boss, sorry
gonna be
boss, I'm learning. I'm learning online today. I'm getting the news and I'm learning.
Exciting
Apart
time.
from Legora, we have an absolute stellar lineup today. Luke, do you want to go through the guests that we have on?
Yeah, so 11:30, kicking off the show, we've got Joseph Chen. He is the CEO and founder of Kaikaku, creating the best restaurant experience through vertically integrated hardware, software, and AI. Exciting stuff. He's coming on the show at 11:30. Then we have Max at Legora, talking all about their 150 million Series C. That's going to be very good. Then Henrik Hansen and Ludwig Swamstrom, co-founders of Vesence. They've just raised a 9 million seed round. That's going to be really exciting. They used to work with Anton at Lovable.
On deck, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Depict, no?
Sorry, Depict, yes.
Yeah. Well, they used to work with Anton. Then we got Johan Jakob, founder and CEO of FlowX AI. They just did this 35 million Series A about 2 years back, and whatever, they deployed like a load of agents. It's going to be good to talk to him. And then Thomas Bacon, founder of Lolu. Very good lineup today. Our first exclusive as well, with Max coming on at 12. So definitely stick around for that. It's going to be good.
It is a fun
Wild.
day. An exclusive interview with a 150 million Series C founder is the stuff we like to see. In terms of news, 1X launches new humanoid robot Neo coming in 2026. Pre-orders are available now at $20,000 or $500 a month. NVIDIA becomes the world's first $5 trillion company. Apple joins the 4 trillion club. I was seeing these come out last night, and my bags were pumping. I was happy to see it. Not only am I happy to see the news, I'm happy to see
Not
my
investment
bags
advice.
pump. That is not financial advice. NVIDIA invests $1 billion in Nokia, or announced that they will invest $1 billion in Nokia. I saw that headline and I was like, oh, I forgot those guys were around.
I mean, look, they pivoted away from phones like ages and ago when they realised that they weren't going to win that race.
I don't know, maybe they come back, man. There's a good old-fashioned sturdy phone, nothing wrong with that. Grammarly has changed its name to Superhuman after acquiring Superhuman last January, I think it was. We're going to talk about that. Brian Johnson raises 60 million for Blueprint, the health protocol genius, the king of longevity. Mm-hmm. He's finally got back in the arena. He's finally back, which is great to see. Linear has launched a new short film. We're going to go into that. We're seeing a lot more of these launches. It's absolutely brilliant. 6 minutes long, talking about life at Linear. Lovable have launched their Lovable Ambassadors program, and a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to get into later on. We're
actually also going to talk about the German deal on the kamikaze drones with Rheinmetall. That's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about that like one-ish. So
that's always good news.
Yeah,
kamikaze drones.
Always
love to hear it.
Always good news.
Very
exciting.
Trade deals. We have been running around, as always, these past 2 days. So firstly, I want to get out friends of the stream, long-time listeners. It's only the team at Spectre. Luke, if you want to give me a hand with this, I also want to flash the back. Because look at that thing. On Halloween night as well, this is our spooky merch. This is not Halloween. This is not branded specifically for Halloween, I should stress. This is just a lovely Spectre logo, but
I kind of want to
I'm thinking hell yeah on that one.
Can we do this?
Yeah. Like, can we use poor Charlie over there? Poor Charlie's almanac to prop that bad boy up.
Yeah,
or
we're gonna have to.
Why don't we move the AI engine cap along next to the sorcery cap on top of the Boulderson plate? Oh, nice, on the Panathenia merch. I like it. Luke's doing God's work over here, getting that absolutely stunning merch. We were welcomed into the office yesterday by the whole Spectre team, and boy, are those guys grinding over there.
Beautiful office.
It was
in Soho,
smiles all
by the way.
round. It was yerba mate on deck. Our boy Francisco chugging down the yerba mate like an absolute king. And the merch was plentiful. A great exchange. Many an ETN cap exchange for 2 Spectre t-shirts, which we are so excited to get hung up. My partner in crime, Luke, over here is just...
This is pretty wicked, I'm not going to lie.
I feel bad for anyone who's beneath this.
What do you mean?
This. Oh, nice.
You can see it. You can see
yeah,
it.
Yeah, I mean, Dawn are getting enough with the Dawn chessboard anyway.
That's true, but we can just put it like that.
Yeah, nice. But look at that.
Oh my god,
Look at
that
that.
looks
It's absolutely
unbelievable.
beautiful. Spectre in the house. Shout out to Spectre.
Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade,
The
Spectre.
reason you're funding the deal of the decade, go to spectre.com. Check it out. They're doing God's work over there. It's probably how all the VCs that got into Lagora's round found that. They were probably using Spectre. I know I would be if I was on the other side.
Oh, dude, that looks so good.
It looks beautiful, doesn't it?
gonna
And
have to
it's
up
been a
again.
long time coming. So these have actually been sat. Here is yours, my friend. These have
Thanks.
actually been sat in my flats. I have just been very unorganised.
Classic European fashion, you know, a little bit slow, but...
Took 2 to 5 working weeks, but we have
Oh my God,
our
these are
EU
clean.
ink caps.
So
ready
clean.
To go. Shout out to Andreas Klinger and the team.
And Marvin Baumann.
And Marvin, our boy. We'll have to put some smiley faces in the group chat with them just to let them know that the EU Ink merch has made it to
This is going on.
ETN, European Technology Network. Look at that! Wow,
How's that look?
that's looking real hard.
Yeah,
That's
EU Ink.
looking real hard, actually. I think that should stay on. It's pretty nice.
I
Let's
feel
get
very
that
good.
bad boy up there along the sorcery stuff. Look at that, we're just making room here. Look at this spatial awareness from Luke. It's absolutely cosmic. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Lagora. It is the Lagora show today. So they've raised their 150 million Series C. I'm just going to check with our team to see if we can pull this article up and maybe structure it in a way that you guys at home can join along with the fun. But just to get us kicked off, the AI legal tech Lagora has raised 150 million at a 1.8 billion valuation. The round comes 5 months on from the Swedish startups Series B. This comes from Kai Nickel Schwartz over at Sifted. And here we are showing you it live. Legal tech Lagora has raised 150 million just 5 months from its Series B, as VCs rush to back the most promising startups building AI applications amid growing talk of a bubble. The Swedish startup hit a 1.8 billion valuation, becoming Europe's most valuable and best funded legal tech. Bessemer Venture Partners led the round with participation from existing investors Iconic, General Catalyst, Redpoint Ventures, Benchmark and Y Combinator. It's great to see a couple of friends of the stream in there. Shout out to Iconic, shout out to General Catalyst and all the wonderful work they do over there. Wow, it just feels good today to be on the receiving end of this. What brilliant news.
What do you think about I've seen a few tweets about, you know, that it's hype and like whatever, and like are they just like riding the hype and it's basically just like,
Dude, they have like
and then
strong...
obviously they're landing a ton of like huge clients, which is cool.
It's massive enterprise clients from day dot. So here Kai reports...
Well, they just landed Linklaters, which is kind of mad. Like the worldwide rollout in offices with Linklaters, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you think what the ACV values on these contracts must be. It's absolutely nuts. Kai reports from Sifted. Since then, Lagora says it's grown its customer base from 250 to over 400, while the number of markets it serves has doubled from 20 to 40. Customers include law firms Linklater, Clearly, Gottlieb, and Goodwin. Shout out to Goodwin, actually. They worked with us on the Convergence acquisition. Max Kuhnstrand, founder and CEO, reports legal professionals across the globe are adopting AI into their work at an unprecedented rate. We've made great progress, but we are only getting started, and executing on our vision will demand relentless focus and hard work from the entire team. Wow. And we get to chat to him live. 2 hours after the news breaks, we have the exclusive...
Yeah, I'm sure he's a busy boy at the moment.
I'm sure he's a busy
Which is,
man. But
which
yeah,
is
thank
interesting.
you to our team.
Let's jump into the 1X launch. Neo, they've just released their home robots. lots of good things, bad things to say. Who knows? You know, it's whatever, teleoperated. Is it actually automated? No, but is it a big step forwards? Yes. Very exciting. Norwegian company, or Norwegian roots, now based in Palo Alto. What do you think of it? Like, what's your take?
Okay, so initial reactions, damn, this is cool.
Damn, this is cool. I like it.
Also, damn, this is early. I was like, whoa, these things are in the houses already? That's kind of crazy. I was doing a bit of...
well, no, because they haven't actually launched. Like you're buying it, but you're buying it on the premise that they might... it might arrive at your door in 2026.
You're pre-ordering on the premise. It comes in 2026. But I was doing a bit of DD last night. I was back channeling with a few folk. And a good friend of the stream, one of our angel investors, actually, I was chatting with.
Do you have home robotics mates?
I have robotics mates.
Oh yeah.
Not home robotics mates, but similar intersection. I won't say who it is. I've not asked him if we can talk about his our conversation live on stream. But we were having a great chat in the early hours of this morning, and so they've pre-ordered a robot. They've pre-ordered one, and they want to sort of like break into it and look at the tech. So they're working on something adjacent in the Teleo operating space, which is the fact
that's quite interesting.
Oh, dude, super cool. Really smart.
But they're like breaking it open and just having a look at the tech.
I think well, they're kind of like wondering how does it operate from like a Teleo operating standpoint. They're building a Teleo operating startup, but essentially we were chatting. So I asked him, I was like, hey, so like, because the Wall Street Journal brought out an article on this the other day, basically as the news broke a few hours before, they got to play around with one of the reporters, got to play around with one live. And I felt that the article was coming from a position of like a prejudice in the sense where like it was decided that the article would be slightly negative prior to even writing it in a way, is what came across from me. I don't know. But there were a few interesting points in there around the fact that like they are using the robots initially on this not beta rollout, it is a rollout, but they're using it for training purposes, right? Like they need to use this to train the model, and how do they train the model? Well, the robots will be recording their environment, they'll be recording their tasks, they'll be recording the flow of rooms, etc. Similar how one would expect for this type of thing. So in that sense, like, the people buying these products are very aware. They're told this up front, but they are very aware of the fact that like there is an individual on the opposite end of the robot that can see, it can see what it's seeing essentially, right? There's cameras in the eyes. Yeah. And
well, it says like if you want to prompt an expert to come and take it off autonomous mode because it might want to do a certain task that isn't autonomous, then you prompt it to do that, and when someone else is looking through that camera. And so like the privacy argument, is basically kind of,
I think it's valid.
It's on you, right? Like it's
but you have to opt in, right? Like very aware.
You have to opt in for an expert to be looking into your home. Yeah,
and when I was chatting to our boy, he was saying that it's kind of like a cleaner coming in, right? Like,
well, it's like a cleaner coming in. Yeah.
You'd have, maybe it's a chef, maybe it's a cleaner. I don't know, but like.
But what's crazy is that when you've got this expert that is sitting in their Palo Alto office, like chilling, doing their thing, they're going to be paid like obviously way more than the customer is paying for an expert to come and help you.
Yeah.
How is that working in terms of like unit economics? Like,
I'm not too sure. What I am sure
they must be burning like tons of money.
Yeah, I'm not. I need to check out again how much they've like raised total, but like actually, we're seeing some great memes pop up. I'm sorry, from the Neo launch. I'm just wondering if we can get this one up. This is from DJ Cows, and there's a lot of talk about what happens when your robot. Like when you don't pay your subscription.
Is that the one where it's like looking over you?
So this is like no, not the one looking over, but it's like Neo. What are you doing? And it looks like someone's Neo robot is in bed with a partner of some sorts, which is great meme work from DJ Cows. We can move on to another one that we saw, and this is Neo looking over the. I think it was from the Wall Street Journal interview. They had a video like adjacent to the interview as well. And this is essentially like a really scary looking robot looking at like,
Yeah.
hello sir, like your payment failed this week. And it's like, I don't want to be sat in that room when my payments failed and Neo's looking at me like, those beautiful, beautiful eyes of Neo's. It's kind of scary. But it's really cool. I think overall positive. I think that.
What do you think about the early release? Like, they obviously they're not rolling it out yet. Like, if I buy one, I don't know when it's coming to my house. And like MKBHD, like, his tweet went pretty viral and was like, kind of what's the point in this? Like, I'm buying this to not have something delivered to my house, and I can't be asked for that. And then even like Will Ahmed at Whoop, he actually wrote a tweet.
Yeah, I can pull that one up
Some
now,
good
actually.
business advice, actually. Friendly warning for the robotic startups. Do not sell a lot of your V1 product. A high-priced, generalist hardware, software, AI product is a recipe for the highest return rates in history of consumer products. You're better off selling a small number and getting to V2. So what do you think about that?
I think he's well, look, who else would there be to comment on some sort of like hardware consumer product? It's Will Ahmed at Whoop. They introduced Whoop, and they had it was initially an upfront purchase for the Whoop band of like $300 or something, maybe a bit more, and it nearly bankrupts them. They then switched to you get the band free. We'll send it to you if you go into the subscription model.
Yeah.
In hindsight, obviously that makes more sense because then you have recurring revenue. There's more stability. You can then model like how much. It just gives you like a nice safety net. And what I like about the tweet is essentially that like this seems to be the play for most of these hardware AI companies, right? You look at Avi Schiffman with
the Whoop way of doing it.
Well, just like what he's saying here specifically, I'm not sure. I don't know if he's probably learned from mistakes.
1X haven't done that. They've gone like wide into the market.
No, but you can pre-order. I don't think it's like everyone will get one. You can like bid for the pre-order. Like you can say I want.
So
one.
how
You
many
might
do you think
not
they'll
like.
release? I don't know if they've ever said.
They've not said the
publicly,
numbers, but it makes sense in terms of like they.
It makes sense to give out like a certain number where they can test their data. Where they can run the
That's
data, test what's going on, and iterate, and then launch the V2 like as soon as possible.
Which they've probably been doing as well, right? They've probably already.
Like I guess like the real work happens when obviously they're working very hard, but like the real work happens when they do get into homes and you're getting all of this data. That it's like, okay, when is an expert needed? When is this happening? Blah blah blah.
Yeah. We can. I think that it makes sense, but like you do run the risk sometimes. Like I know with Friend.com, the date in which one would receive the product that they ordered, it was continuously pushed back, right? But I guess if I'm a founder and I want to know how many things do I need to build, like what are the best strategy in terms of like, hey, here's a wait list, sign up. Like I'm not going to make it free to pre-order. Like, you can't just like say pre-order and now like, oh, here's one pre-order, we need to go build a robot. It's like put the money down so I know that you're bought in. And then we'll go and make it. Like, is it make to order? Is it like?
So
you can imagine what if they build like.
Well, I don't
100
know.
of these.
I don't know if they would be using the money to.
Yeah, are they using the money to maybe?
Build the box.
I don't know. Like that kind of.
I mean, let's speak about the
That's
money,
how make to order would usually go. We need to get the founder on. EQT, great friends of the stream. They're going to maybe help us get.
They actually said so they did a LinkedIn post. Obviously, they're investors. They did today. 1X launches Neo, a robot built to improve life at home. The goal of Neo is a product. As a product, is simple yet profound. To be your grandma's favorite AI, something that is so universally helpful in everyday life that the value of humanoids won't be a debate, but something we will all accept as significant improvement in our quality of life. From simple assistance today to broader applications tomorrow, this is the first phase of a long plan, building intelligence that grows alongside us. I mean, this is obviously not like get to cash flow, get to profitability, and just like chill. This is a hard like 10, 15 year journey where you're burning money. You're taking more money. You're burning until eventually you
hit that mark.
You hit PMF, I guess, and like it obviously very hard to do that. And
I think you're right, and I think that like
there'll be hundreds of startups, I think, before a startup that's building humanoids becomes like an everyday thing for a human to have a humanoid robot.
Yeah. I think like many things that we're seeing right now.
But it's good that it's
I think it's an amazing thing. I think it's an amazing thing. Right, we're not going to laugh at the person who invents the square wheel. It's a step in the right direction to the round wheel. Huge fans of the wheel over here at ETN. Gets you where you need to go. With regards to
Seapoint, your startup's financial
are you
home.
coming in with a
Get back control of your finances with Seapoint, a business account that handles invoice payments, expenses, payroll, and reporting. Go to seapoint.co.
While waiting for Max, let me tell you about Fora. It's the workspace to make your everyday extraordinary. Work from home at work. It's private offices, whole floors, dedicated desks. Fora offers workspace solutions for teams of all sizes. Maybe even a bunch of Neo robots. Who knows? Imagine that. Hey guys, welcome to the stand-up today. A bunch of Neo robots. You can control them, teleoperated by people that work at home.
I would love a Neo robot just like chilling like that.
I mean, we could probably get one. We could probably pre-order one.
We could just pre-order one, yeah. But then
Maybe.
2026 is like, if they were shipping it, if they shipped
We can
me an
hang
empty,
up like the email receipt.
if they, yeah, if they shipped me an empty Neo robot, like none of the tech, nothing, just give me the little suit thing.
Oh, like the exterior,
And
like
just
the
like,
outer
I
frame,
can like
the
hang
skeleton.
it like somewhere there.
Yeah.
I'd have
I want the European one. Have you seen the European ones? They look like Napoleon.
Can we get it up?
Yeah.
Can we get it up on the stream?
Let me see if I can just pull that up real quickly. This is obviously unconfirmed, but like, I think it was actually me who tweeted this out. Now
You're famously showing your
now
tweet.
I remember correctly.
Nice.
And it is a Neo robot dressed up as Napoleon, actually. So
I think he looks pretty good.
I mean, I'd order that. I
Yeah.
want that in
Yeah,
my
I want that.
room. I mean, we could probably get that. To be
Even
honest,
just like
a,
as I say, just like empty the
just a
thing out,
statue.
like take the tech out. I don't
It was
care.
just
I'll
like a
still pay
mannequin,
20k.
like-
just take the tech out
This is
and
just
just like
me-
put it in the
yeah.
corner of my room. I think that's pretty gangster.
yeah. No, I agree. This is just me kind of like admitting that I want a Napoleon mannequin in my room.
That is jokes. We so in 2 minutes we have Joseph Chen on. He actually had a pretty viral tweet the other day. Actually, he's been going viral for his like
He goes
for his
viral every
office
tweet he drops,
for his
bro.
office
Yeah,
like
the guy is-
drops.
the guy's
New
aurifying.
London hardware lab loading, and it's just like dark picture with just like some like nice kind of glass windows inside, whatever with like a meeting room. Just looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
And 40k views.
No, he's slaying the game. I love his on his Twitter. I can't remember if it's Twitter or LinkedIn, but it says he's obviously like CEO, founder of Kaikaku, ex-Australian military and teppanyaki chef.
Love that.
So it's just like a really I like how he's
Robotics and food.
he's worked hard, but he's also play hard.
Yeah.
And there's a few joke elements in there of him sort of talking about like, let me just find. There's just a line. We don't have to show this.
His
to everyone,
LinkedIn
but-
his LinkedIn is banging my head against our robots 25/8 until they make delicious food.
Yeah.
Eating execution risk for a living.
And then his bio underneath, like his founder and CEO, thing on LinkedIn says like traumatized by the amount of potatoes I had to peel in my parents' Chinese restaurant since age 6, which is obviously hilarious, but second, he's come from the space. Like,
Yeah.
he's an industry expert, right? Like, if you look at what he's doing, he's efficiently creating like the combination of like robotics, hardware, AI, software into a realm in which you can apply that to a restaurant and the manufacturing. I'm not going to lie, when I was looking at, I recently watched the McDonald's founder film
Yeah.
for like the third time. To be
Yeah.
honest, I
It's a
love
good
it.
movie.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah,
It's such a good film, and like
Have
that
I
bit
seen
where
it?
they're sorry, yeah, I don't know why. Like I was surprised at that. I had you more down as like a Equalizer 2 kind of guy. Like
Can't I watch both?
Chris Pratt kind of guy. I don't know. Anyway, but it reminded me of the scene where they're like drawing the restaurant on the floor in like it's on some like concrete playground. I don't know what it is, and they're doing the moves through, and they're like walking through, and they're like finding the most efficient point
Right.
as to which they find with the flow.
Yeah.
And it gave me, I was like, this guy's kind of like a real life Ronald McDonald in the best way possible. And I mean that as like a massive compliment. which is really
He's
awesome.
not trying to mog Joseph.
No,
before he
no,
comes
I
on
would
the
not be
show.
mugging a guest before they come on.
That's jokes.
But no, I think it's really cool. But look, speaking of AI and all these beautiful things, I want to tell you a little bit about ACI.dev. It's the open source middleware to control, govern, and observe AI access to your tools and your data as well. So shout out to ACI.dev.
Boom. Let's go. So Joseph's coming on in a few minutes.
I'm quite keen
It's really
to. I want to break down the launch tweet because that did 2.3k likes, 736k impressions.
Yeah.
Which
The video is cool as well.
Yeah, which is obviously a
3
banger.
patent filings, 20 plus granted design rights, and 2,500 on
Yeah,
shape
he was just
comments.
like, he was just dinging off like mad achievements basically. So
Yeah,
really awesome to see.
yeah.
And
So cool.
and yeah,
And the
think it's
video
gonna
is
be-
like beautiful as well. I want to know who did his video.
Well, this is the thing. It's like if you're not doing high production, crazy launch videos now, then like, I don't know. To be fair, there was you either have to go you're polarized, right? Like you either have to go like all in on high production, sick launch video, or you could do I forget the name of that guy that did it was like just raised like 20
like
mil.
super simple.
Full stop.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
to work. Full stop. And I went viral. And I was like, okay, you can either put like
Yeah, but then if you
zero
do that, you're
or
like
maximum effort.
you're like you do that and it flops.
I'm just hearing words that we have Joseph live in the studio. Joseph, how are you on the European Technology Network? We are so happy.
Let's
to
go
have you
live
with
on
us.
ETN.
Hello, how are you?
We're very,
doing
very good. Thank you very
incredibly
much.
Well, we are pumped to have you with us today. We were just talking about you, your LinkedIn profile, Kaikaku, launch tweets. We want to get into everything. Maybe for the viewers of the stream, can you break down who you are, what you're doing, what Kaikaku is, and then we can get into the nitty gritty.
Sure thing. So I'm Joseph, born and raised in rural Austria. And what I'm building today, I like to describe as I've built a cult where I get the best engineers in a room with no sunlight behind a real restaurant to solve once and for all the physical labor problem of restaurants. It's really ridiculous because it's one of those industries where it isn't just $1 trillion industry. You literally spend $1 trillion a year on labor. And the crazy thing about that is nobody likes the job. If you ask 90% of the restaurant workers, they'll say, oh, I hate my job. And that's what we're here to change.
So cool. I mean, what an amazing mission. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile before we jumped on, and there were a few interesting tidbits on there. One being underneath your so founder and CEO at Kaikaku, traumatized by the amount of potatoes I had to peel in my parents' Chinese restaurant since age 6. Talk about
Founder market
market fit. We absolutely love to see that. Can you maybe tell us a bit about this, like the background, the story as to why you sort of like this was the path that you chose?
Yeah, sure. So I literally grew up above the restaurant of my parents, which is a small Chinese restaurant, the one that sells the westernized Chinese food like chop suey, sweet and sour. And my day-to-day life was, without exception, every single day after kindergarten, after school, I would go to that restaurant. My parents would make me do the most random tasks, whether it's folding napkins, blowing out candles, peeling potatoes, cutting onions. And whether I wanted or not, by the age of 25, I've had more than 2 decades of restaurant experience. And I said, who is the person with the most unfair advantage to build this? And it's definitely me.
That's so sick.
I love that.
So cool. And
So
like
good.
for I mean, like when we were introing Kaikaku, you know, there were a lot of things moving around. There's a lot of stuff on X as well. The way that we sort of introed this to the stream was creating the best restaurant experience through vertically integrated hardware, software, and AI. Can you maybe give us a bit more on specifically what Kaikaku is doing? You know, are you leaning more on the hardware? Is it more like an OS system? Is it like a subscription platform, like with the software side? Can you maybe speak to all 3 of these metrics and yeah, just give us a taste of what Kaikaku specifically is doing?
Yes, so the way we like to describe ourselves is we're building an entire operating system powered by robotics and AI. And what that means is focus on experience. We're delivering a business in a box. And maybe an analogy there would be just like people assume we build technology AI to replace lawyers, and then I would argue 90% of people probably are not as smart as GPT. Why don't you just GPT as a lawyer, but you still pay for the experience of having a human lawyer behind? And so that's what we realized when we opened our own restaurant, where we said, sure, we could automate everything and create a humanless experience, which was the perception most people have when you hear robotic restaurants. And we said, actually, that's not the point. We have to get people through the door, pay the prices they like to pay every single day because of the human experience. And all of our technology, specifically, we have our automatic make line, which is if you go to a salad restaurant, you see a lot of ingredients on a counter, where we've automated all the boring task of scooping stuff into a bowl. So we automatically can make hundreds of bowls an hour. But in addition to that, the reason our restaurant works is all the other systems are interconnected. From the moment you walk in, we've got computer vision cameras watching you. The moment you walk to the tablet, which is built by us, and you place an order, the order goes straight to the order ticket, allows you to know when your order is ready, and the robot gets all the data. So our staff, and then with experience, what they do is they don't turn their back towards you. They look at you, they put the theatrics on, we have caramelized goat cheese, people squeeze sauces onto your bowl. And that's why our customers love us, and we've actually became one of the world's, London's best salad restaurants on Google Maps.
Wow, that's actually mental, because restaurants are famously very hard businesses and very risky businesses, right? Yeah. So are you launching like different restaurant chains, or are you focusing on one kind of specific niche in the restaurant world? Like what's the deal?
Well, are you selling the hardware?
Like there's so many angles that you could go business model wise.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So what we focus on is, you're right, there are lots of cuisines. So far, we've just cracked ambient portioning. That was our entire focus. And the cuisine that matches this perfectly is salad bowls, because you don't need hot food, you don't really need cold food. That's what we do. And the business plan is as follows. We need to prove in the first step that we can change the unit economics very, very drastically, from 7% EBITDA, which is an average restaurant, to 35, literally 5x the margins. And then the question becomes, okay, you've proven it, how the heck do you scale it up ASAP? And we say, because we've built that business in a box, the only thing that makes sense is become a franchisor. And if you have the unit economics to back that up, entrepreneurs will take your system without you having to own hundreds of restaurants yourself. You have very good operators on the ground, powered by our operating system, operating restaurants.
Okay, this is.
Do you take an equity stake or anything like in the brands that people create off the business in the box that you've like sold them?
So there are a few ways to do that. One way is, yes, we could buy a brand, an existing brand and very established brand, and transform them into a tech-first labor-light operation and scale that brand up using franchising. Or there are lots of brands out there who might not want to sell, who are very, very good, best in class, who've constrained their growth to just self-operating, creating a product. And then we can offer what we like to call franchise as a service, which is, hey, you've got a very good brand around London, you want to grow across the world, you're scared of having too many employees and operating and the consistency of your product. Why don't we create this robotics-powered franchise system for you with your good brand?
I mean, this is fascinating. Just before you came on, I was saying that I'd recently watched the film Founder, the McDonald's founder, and the story around that. Like, I'm just getting the vibes here that this is like the 2025 equivalent of like, let's make this, their operating system was a breakthrough moment. Like I was telling Luke about the scene in which they're mapping out the restaurant live in that sort of playground thing in the yard. They're walking through the motions. They're making it as efficient as possible. Then they're talking about franchise, and like I guess I'm hearing what you're saying. This seems like the robotics and AI level of that. And I guess when are you going to start buying all the land? Like all the land beneath these stores, like just like the McDonald's founder was doing.
Yes, McDonald's are notorious to not really make money through the franchise royalties, but yes, they own the real estate. And our version of that would be, we own the technology that is so mission critical to your operations, where hopefully if we make restaurateurs a lot of money, we can, just like McDonald's, use a more fringe business model to extract value and create an R&D flywheel.
Really, really interesting.
And what's the scale right now, and what's the plan for 2026 to scale this out? Are you staying in London? Are you going to different cities in Europe? Are you going worldwide? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we are now 2.5 years old. All we've done over the past 2.5 years is run our single restaurant. To your example of McDonald's, we literally have all of engineers behind the restaurant, drawing up stuff, going out, putting technology out. We have a one-way mirror where my office desk is, and I will just stalk customers every single day.
Way. I think
The nuances of what technology means in a restaurant. For example, we used to have our tech, maybe you can see like a example up there where we have the tech on above the counter, which is in your face, and consumers didn't really like it. So we made it more familiar in form of a salad counter. That's an example of one of our largest learnings. So the next step for us is the reason we just moved to a bigger laboratory is back then we just hacked around stuff, put prototypes out. We learned a lot. We've got a list of hundreds of learnings, a backlog of hundreds of features. And now we can use this laboratory to start mass producing professional grade hardware from those learnings. And the ambition is, sure, we've proven it in our own restaurants. The next step, the next quarter is, can we take our technology, partner up with a top best-in-class brand, showcase that we can make any brand extremely efficient, and then start mass producing the hardware beginning in the UK. And hopefully by the end of next year, we'll open our first office in the US.
Exciting stuff.
So awesome. I love the, whenever I hear one-way window, I'm just like immediately bought in, you know? This is, I feel like we should have a one-way window. I don't know where we'd put it, but I kind of want one now. I'm a little bit jealous. I don't know, I just think that having a one-way window would be kind of cool.
We haven't had a founder say that they have a one-way window into like directly looking at their customers to understand like what they're doing and how you can make their experience better. So fair play. I wanted to ask, are you making, because obviously you're rolling out this to, you know, other brand, or you're planning to, right? Are you trying, like, what's the process in trying to make this like dummy proof for someone who isn't necessarily into like robotics, right? But like they're very good at making, I don't know, a pizza. Like, what's the, you know, what's the ability to kind of like integrate yourself into a very kind of standard restaurant, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so that will latch on to the keyword of business in a box. Restaurateurs are notoriously allergic to changing the processes. Meaning, if we would have just built a point solution in a pizza restaurant, right? People try to build a sauce machine and whatnot, but try to sell it to a pizza restaurateur, they will almost without an exception say no, not because they can't necessarily afford it, but because they just can't change the process. And our approach is we offer them entire business in a box, meaning the technology, but more than the technology, 80% of the value actually comes from all the SOPs, the procedures, the how do you train up your staff. This is why franchisors are so attractive to franchisees, because they can basically take an existing franchise. It's kind of idiot-proof. Take it, we give you a whole handbook. You just do what we tell you to do. You don't have to think, because operationally it's already so heavy that they can't even think anyways.
Yeah. I'm just looking at your Twitter again. In terms of GTM, it kind of seems like you just keep going viral in terms of your posts, which is so awesome. This is one back from August. We were talking about it earlier. It's more snappy. There's a really cool video in there, and it's 3 patent filings, 20 plus granted design rights, 2,500 plus on-shape commits. This launch, what happened after this? Is this like a good indication of where you guys are at right now? Like there's a lot of great information here in terms of what you're specifically doing. I'm seeing again, like built in a few months by 3 engineers locked in a room with no sunlight in the middle of London. Walk us through this, because this sounds amazing.
Yes, so I would say the only reason why our product works, not in a laboratory, but in the real world, is because we internally, the keyword, no future proving. We do things that are always uncomfortable. We always put stuff out that barely works. And and we get the learnings immediately, and the iteration cycles are actually faster and softer in our case. And the Twitter posts are basically a showcase of how much you can do, and we're only 5.5 people in the entire team doing all of this with a very small team, while you have this very quick iteration cycles. And the outcomes of those sexy posters twofold. One, obviously, a lot of investors reached out because they like these very sexy launch videos. But operators who, a lot of them happen to be on Twitter, reached out as well, where they can see this fit into their process. Why? Because from the get-go, we focus also the tech on two things. One, we can't really invent something that's in addition to what you already have, because that's so much friction. And two, we can't really convince with the additional equipment a lot of restaurateurs to spend more money on this. Let's say you have a budget to open a restaurant, 300K, you have to stick to that budget. And the reason people got very interested is we not just made something that's so mission critical in the works, but also it fits within an existing budget, which is a make line. And our make line is not much more expensive than if you buy, quote unquote, a dumb salad counter make line.
Got it. Okay, so the money is like there ready to be spent on the client side. You guys are just building something better, a slight premium, and then yeah, I guess like that. You're not trying to pitch something new to a new person with no budget. That makes complete sense.
I wanted to touch on the kind of whole market of this, because I feel like this is like super niche, but also, you know, there's a ton of like hardware robotics companies that are building the ability. Well, 1X just released their, you know, Neo robot, humanoid robot, and, you know, all of these robotics companies are allowing robots to like fold clothes and stuff. For you guys, the fact that you've niched down is like your moat, right? Do you feel like there's any other like industries that you could go and take one day? Not just restaurants, you could go and, you know, do a business in a box for I don't know, something else, like a tennis coach or something, I don't know.
No, our focus is purely on restaurants. And if we win restaurants, we'll be a $10 trillion company. And focus.
Speaking of restaurants, another line, the military and teppanyaki chef. Can we hear both sides of this sentence? I want to hear about the military and the chef.
Yes, so it's actually the Austrian military. And for those who don't know, Austrian still has mandatory conscription after you turn 18. So I arrived in the military in the middle of COVID. My first task was to build bridges. My second task was to handle logistics centers to deliver enough toilet paper to households. And after I did all of that, I got suddenly a call from the Ministry of Defense, and they put me on a very special project, which is, hey, Joseph, we've got all these Olympic athletes, top-tier athletes, and these military sports centers. Can we please digitalize them? And I was actually a one-man team who somehow within half a year digitalized everything. And the core part of the product was, can we have a calendar entry system? They used to literally, every single soldier and athlete had to fill out week by week what I'm doing this week, partly for doping control, but also partly just to track where they are. And I built that system digitally, and not just that, we could use that data for the trainers to train up and create sports programs for these athletes. And the second part of Teppanyaki Chef is my parents still have a lovely restaurant where teppanyaki is basically, you have this grill, you put raw food on, and you put this head on, you have these two things, and you just throw food around and grill it in front of the customer. So I've been doing that for many, many, many years, and I still miss it sometimes.
That's so awesome. That must be a nice, like, I guess, break from the noise sometimes to be able to go back and do some work over there. That's
yeah. The funny thing is, my holiday back home, without exception, every time I arrive, I have to work in the restaurant.
I mean, that sounds.
You go from working like looking into restaurants from your like 2-glass window thing, and then going back to a restaurant. So like your whole world is restaurants.
I guess
my whole world is restaurant. And one of the large reasons of why Kaikaku, here's the last story, which is 3 years ago, while I was on track to tell myself I'm never going to touch restaurants ever again, I'm going to become a finance professional, my parents hit me up and they explained to me the reason for me to work every single day in the restaurant is not necessarily to exploit my labor. It's because that's the only time them as parents and restaurant operators could spend face to face with me. And I had these flashbacks of me folding napkins, peeling potatoes, and my parents sitting next to me and teaching me stuff. Otherwise, I would have grown up without values if I just went home alone. So, in a way, restaurants is the only common language nowadays where I can speak to my parents about, and they're very, very engaged, versus try to convince parents who didn't really finish high school on what an Excel sheet is.
That's so awesome. That's
So good.
that's so amazing.
That's a great story.
Joseph,
yeah, we're out of time.
we are out of time. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing with our lovely viewers. And Luke and I, we've learned so much from the conversation. And I mean, I know that you guys are close. We didn't cover this, but I know you guys are close to getting something set up in London again. I saw there was a tweet in terms of, you know, I can't remember what the exact phrasing was, but it was like a hardware lab is going to be popping up at some point. We'd love to have you back on when you guys get that up and running. And yeah, we have your LinkedIn, your WhatsApp, and we'll be in touch.
100%. Let's do it. Luke and Ronan, such a pleasure.
Thank you so
Good
much.
to see you around.
Great to meet you.
Take care.
Ciao, my
Bye.
man. Thank you. Wow. Talk about
That's
like
good.
Avengers Assemble of skills and talent.
8
Absolutely
minute
crazy.
countdown until Mr. Max, CEO and co-founder of Legora, is coming on the show to
Only
chat.
8 minutes away. Wow. Well, in that 8 minutes, let me just tell you about
Exciting.
my friend Jack and my friend Jill. It's Jack and Jill. Don't miss the unmissable jobs at the hottest companies. Jack and Jill will listen to what you want and search thousands of jobs, thousands of new jobs every hour to find job opportunities worth seeing. That's Jack and it's
So-
Jill.
I don't want to waste time talking about Legora, like, you know, about the website, right? With Max, I think we want to dive
Yeah, we'll let that
deeper,
come
right?
from the
But
horse's
now,
mouth.
right now, I want to talk about the website because it's like so nice.
Yeah.
It's designed very nicely. We should go about their about page and learn a bit more about.
Yeah. Can I
them.
share this or
No, we'll just get it
I'm
up
not
on
sure
the
if it'll
screen
fit.
on the live.
screen?
We won't do that.
It is a bit too chunky, I think. But let me just walk through. For those who don't know Legora, sorry, let me just walk you through. This is from Max Eunstrand, the co-founder and CEO. The vision of Legora: lawyers bring judgment, strategy, and creativity. AI brings speed, scale, and precision. Together, they unlock new possibilities for how legal work gets done. Our vision is to give every lawyer the tools to focus on what matters most, advising clients, shaping outcomes, and driving progress. By removing repetitive tasks and streamlining complex workflows, we help lawyers spend less time on admin and more time practicing law at its highest level.
Yeah, just a quick word from him. Actually, he said on their website once they on their raise release, they said we're seeing an astronomical demand for our products. Legal professionals across the globe are adopting AI into their work at an unprecedented rate, and I could not be more proud of supporting our customers on this journey. I'm grateful for the strong backing of our investors, which enables us to execute our vision, enabling the lawyer of the future and seamless collaboration between machine and human intelligence. I want to just ask you a question about how is this eating up the corporate world, do you think? Obviously it's working with lawyers, right?
Yeah.
But there are a ton of startups. I can't remember what the name was, but it released maybe 2 months ago where it was able to build DCFs and stuff inside. It was basically, it took control of your Excel and started modeling. And I don't know what they've done recently, but they raised their pre-seed, I believe it was around the 10 million mark. And it went kind of bananas.
Yeah.
And they were basically just removing the need for an analyst, essentially.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is very different. This is with lawyers. This isn't with financial professional. But what do you think about this? Is this taking jobs? Is this
What's weird is I think that when you're working with AI, a typical stance, I think, is usually at first to kind of avoid the industries where you feel are burdened with regulation and sensitivity related obstacles. You know, I'm thinking financial services, traditional financial services. I'm thinking healthcare. I'm thinking maybe law is one. So I'm not sure if that, as a barrier to entry, it's harder to get into. I think there are less people playing that game because it's harder and takes longer. So you get less people.
Well, you have to have industry expertise to understand what.
Yeah, you need that. But it's just
what not to do.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
You don't know
Like,
what you don't know, right?
100%, and it's like there are many variables that contribute to this barrier to entry, but I do feel that is a counter signal to people that are maybe raising to have a pop at something, take a swing. Like I think if you're attacking one of those markets, you're kind of saying I'm going to be, and I know all founders should be thinking this. It's always like the 10-year horizon or whatever, but it's almost like you're saying, yeah, this is me, this is me, and I'm set. Because the speed in which you have to work would typically be slowed down by these slower moving industries. I think that maybe acts like a counter signal to bring people in. I think there are less people building in law, AI, sort of in the intersection compared to sales tools and AI, right? Like there would definitely be more in sales tools.
It's just more
niche. Exactly right. It's niche, and there's just some hurdles within that. I think that. I mean, from what we're hearing, Legora is doing incredibly well. It seems to be that it's Legora and Harvey that are kind of have a sort of grip on the whole space at the moment.
Yeah.
And Vescence as well are working within the intersection of law and
yeah,
AI
so
as
what they do, which is obviously different to Legora, is they're like a checking tool. So before a client sees anything, as soon as you send an email, a doc, whatever, it will get Vescence LLM will check the work to make sure nothing goes to the client which isn't right. Whereas this kind of directly, this is like into your workflow.
Yeah.
It works with you, and I want to understand a little bit more about the product, and we'll get obviously Max to explain more. But they've already landed, as we mentioned earlier, a global contract with Linklaters. That was in September. They're with Cleary, Goodwin. So like they've got buyers like basically everywhere, and so like the validation from like enterprise market is huge. Like this isn't just like hype.
Dude, think about that rolling out to these law firms, right?
Well, they've gone from
billings.
I think they've got about 400 customers now.
Yeah.
And these customers, like they're not like they're very large scale enterprise. And as soon as you win one, like you integrate into their whole workflow.
Validation, right? As well, like how if I know that if I'm a massive law firm and I know that my competitor has just done a fucking sorry global rollout of Legora. That's going to make me want to go and get Legora, right? Like, if I'm not getting Legora, I'm not staying competitive. Like, I have to go and roll out Legora as well. I've got Spectre up here, and I'm just looking at Legora's previous raises. They initially came out of YC in...
Is it 20 million and then... Was it 20 million or 80 million?
80 million,
million
Series
80 million.
B, yeah, but initially April 3rd, 2024, they came out of YC, 500k pre-seed.
Yeah.
May 16, 2024, they did their seed, 10.5 million. Benchmark, Darian Shirazi, Hummingbird Ventures, Daft Capital, SV Angel, Yuri Sagalov, and Terence Rohan, and a couple more. Then we come to the Series A, 25 million. This is July 17th, 2024, not long after May. Redpoint, Alt Capital, Wayfinder Ventures, YC coming again, and Benchmark enter the conversation. Redpoint led this round, but Benchmark led the previous round. Then we have the Series B, led by Iconic Capital, General Catalyst, joined in again by Redpoint, YC, and Benchmark. That was May 21st, 2025.
Who was this led by? Bessemer.
And now we're seeing we're seeing follow-on from Iconic and General Catalyst again. So I mean.
Also, can we just mention that they're Stockholm-based? Like, Stockholm is literally on fire.
It's, I mean, we're seeing it with the guests that we're bringing on, right? It seems to be
nuts.
like completely dominated by
It's
the
crazy,
Nordic
bro.
entities, which is absolutely wild. We're just getting word from our producer that Max is in the
Max
studio.
on
Max,
ETN, live on ETN? Max, how's it going?
Hey,
Congratulations.
Look, good. Good to see you.
Max,
Yeah,
it's
no,
so
likewise.
Thank you so
good
much.
to see you. Thank you for joining us, and what a day it must be for you. Thank you for making the time to come and join us and talk to our lovely listeners about.
Yeah, I'm actually with clients all day, so it's a typical day in the industry.
Well, maybe this is your
Nothing
AI
stops.
agent then. You know, or maybe you should start deploying AI agents of Max. Where should we start? I mean, we've just been introing what Legora is for the past 10 minutes. We'd love to hear it from the source, from you yourself. And then maybe you can go into the raise and break down, like, why this much money? Why now? How are we going to be deploying this? Yeah, we'd love to hear more.
Yeah.
Of course, awesome, and it's really great to be here. So look, Legora is a workspace for lawyers, and we help them with all kinds of tasks, everything from reviewing documents to legal research to drafting new things. And we were founded back in 2023, just off the back of the first release of the GPT 3.5 model. So just when the LLM started becoming available, and the sort of seed of what became Legora actually was founded way earlier than that, but the models weren't good enough to solve any meaningful use cases. And so we took that technology, we worked really closely with our clients, partners, the lawyers who ended up joining our team to build what we think is the best productivity tool and the best productivity suite for them. And that has since, continued to develop. So I feel like every single quarter, not only is the product evolution so steep and it's almost a new piece of software, but also the team. We've been doubling in size almost every single quarter. So it's almost a new company. Everybody gets shuffled around. It's all hands on deck all the time. And I think that's really on the back of that growth that we've also now gone out to do this additional fundraise.
Nice.
And as you might have known, we did our Series B back in May earlier this year. We also launched in the US, and following that, it has become one of our quickest growing markets. We've seen, honestly, close to astronomical demand, and we want to meet that demand not only from the customer side, but also in our product ambitions. So we feel really privileged and great about bringing Bessemer on board. Samir is somebody that we don't only respect from an investment side, but also as an ex-operator. So yeah, we feel honestly completely great about it.
You love to hear it. Getting that investor update and seeing like the number next to ARR instead of like a specific number, it just says astronomical. That would probably be a good email to receive. Can you maybe walk through what US expansion? I guess this has already started. It's going very well. I'm sure that you probably want to start scaling that up a bit more. What is the 150 million Series C for? How are you going to be deploying this capital going forward?
Yeah. Well, look, we actually haven't. I don't think we've spent that many dollars from our Series B even yet. But at the rate of growth that we're currently experiencing, I think by the end of next year we'll be close, or even if not more, double in terms of team size. And we're also seeing that the level of sophistication in the usage from our product is increasing. People are moving from using Legora to summarize an email or translate a document to much more advanced things, which is also driving a real surge in usage from the underlying LLM providers. So there's a real cost associated to running these models and this product at scale. And we've been closely partnering with both Anthropic and OpenAI for a long time. And so, of course, that becomes a bigger and bigger post the more usage that we drive to the system. Now I think we have something to like a couple of tens of thousands of people online every single day. And when people go from this sort of small token usage to the much bigger, we need to scale to meet that. I think also this year we grew from mainly being in Stockholm to opening both in London, New York. We recently opened in India, Sydney as well. And so the global scale of the business has really started to take effect. And that also means that we want to scale operationally to be able to support those types of global customers.
Yeah. Is each customer, do they get a specific product, or is it kind of is it pretty broad in terms of what you're offering? Considering like it's a global market, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the platform is the same, but it has a lot of configurability options, meaning that you can build out custom workflows, playbooks, templates that then Legora follows. And we put a huge emphasis on, we call them legal engineers. It's really partnering closely with our both law firms and in-house legal teams to drive success with the product, and also with the broader educational aspects of what it means to use these products in production and be proficient with them. In many cases, we come to a firm, we see that they maybe have bought Microsoft Copilot or they have an enterprise license with ChatGPT, but they've not gone to that second level of sophistication in their AI use. And that's where they really need a partner who's going to help them go there. And so I think it's important to really bundle the software with the enablement of that software. And I think there as well, Luke, if you look at new and incoming capabilities, things like bringing your own MCP servers, connecting Legora to certain internal APIs, this is allowing firms to build much more bespoke solutions and narrow solutions for their practice based on our holistic system. Like nobody wants to go and solve PDF parsing or agent orchestration or building a sort of a pretty UI, and we like to say that we bring the Scandinavian design to legal tech, right? So we do all of that, and then we want them to bring their expertise and to bring their clients and to bring their work to the platform and really sort of supercharge it with AI.
Yeah.
Nice. Is anything client facing, or is it kind of all just like back end?
I can't comment about that, but we are running a huge product announcement in New York next week, and maybe there'll be some stuff around that there.
Okay,
that's
nice.
exciting.
A free teaser for the viewers. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, we were discussing this earlier. Like, traditionally, when a founder goes out to build like an AI company, it's not that there are some industries that you'd be natural to avoid, like maybe the more regulated industries, traditional finance, like the medic area, like health in general. Law, I think, might come into this, right? You're dealing with like high confident, like high trust level documents and stuff. Like the barrier to entry is naturally higher than, say, building in sales enablement or sales or outbound, or what, that's a saturated market. But like, how have you found? From the GTM standpoint, right? I assume earlier on, and maybe even still now, right? You mentioned you're with clients all day. You're probably doing a lot of founder-led sales. Like, how have you found getting, like, in one of the most high-trust environments, getting them to buy into AI and letting the AI into their sort of like very confidential papers? How's that been? How have you found that? I mean, obviously well, but
look, I'll be very honest. We actually spent half of our initial angel funding on getting security certificates. Wow. So there was a huge step. Like, it was like noodles for the first 6 months. Let's get to the point where we can sell to these enterprises, and we had to go through there. And what we were able to successfully do very early on was partner with some of the leading law firms in the Nordics. So for the first 9 months of the business, we actually occupied office space within a law firm called Mannheimer Swartling as part of their innovation incubator, and they're the largest law firm in the Nordics. So the first day that we arrived there, we basically got this big of a security paper RFP stack dropped on our table and said, we're not going to use your product until you complete this. And we ended up staying up for 48 hours straight, like completing the whole thing. And then we realized they're probably not used to any vendor completing it this quickly. So if we do, maybe they're going to think that we took a lot of shortcuts, but we did it like very honestly. So we thought, okay, we need to wait another week before we turn it in, so they know that they feel like we really did our work. And after that, when you can go, we went to every other Swedish law firm and said, hey, we work with the best one. With the most strict one. It's much easier than to be a fast follower. Everybody in our industry, or 99% of them, wants to be a fast follower. They don't want to be the first one taking the biggest risk, and they also don't want to be left behind. So I think it's been important for us that we partnered and get to work with some of the biggest organizations in the world. Now we're working with banks, insurance companies, like construction, real estate, and private equity. We're also there's a huge focus on security, compliance, etc. And so you really need to be diligent about it. And I do think that there is a moat to be building for a client or a customer group that maybe is a bit more reserved, or sort of really make sure that what they bring in is good and correct, because then you get rewarded for being diligent about those things.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I wanted to ask about like the different kind of like growth levers that you guys can pull to kind of go to the next level in terms of 2026. Where's the thing that you're finding like the most stick on at the moment that you want to kind of get over, like hurdle wise, and what's the potential solution that you guys are looking into as well?
I mean, this is going to sound super cocky, but I feel like the growth that we're currently experiencing does not really have like hurdles in terms of what the market is looking for. It's more us scaling to be able to meet that incoming demand. It's almost when you feel product market fit. I know what that feels like now. It's the feeling of we have too many demos being booked and nobody's taking care of them, or we have so many clients to onboard next week. Who's going to do what, right? And what we've done really quickly, starting to work with law firms like Linklaters and others, is we have scaled the business enormously fast to be able to support rollouts with 6,000 lawyers, right? Like there's a completely different motion to how you drive that change management, to just onboarding your sort of random mom and pop shop. And now we're even getting requests of, big in-house legal teams that are onboarding with Legora, and they're saying, hey, we want the rest of the organization to be self-serving on some of these use cases that we're building, which would, then bring in a lot more usage as well. So it's really sort of opportunity across the board. And from the very early beginnings, we've said, let's be ultra focused on one single type of user. Let's make it the tool that's the best in the world for them, and then we'll think about the next thing. So I think we've got our hands pretty full with what we're currently running at.
Yeah, what an awesome problem to have, right? Like that, I guess, is true PMF, when it's like the main issue the business is facing is how do we hire more people? How do we keep up with demand? How are we there to receive this hockey stick growth? I have a question on the future of this particular industry, right? It seems like you guys have bridged the gap of you can trust us, essentially, right? Like it's very clear that people will now are happy to go ahead with Legora. You mentioned this is from, like going to, I guess, specifically the hardest people to get into and then getting into them. I guess it's easy then to get into, not easy, but like it makes it more probable that you'll get into everyone else. What is the future of this intersection of like law in general and AI, right? Like, because I think there are a lot of industries where people are, maybe sort of like, oh, we're not quite there yet. Like, well, we're still 5 to 10 years off. Maybe it seems like you guys are like steamrolling right through this whole thing. Like, why do you think that is? And what is the future like?
I mean, look, when LLMs first showed up, I think coding and writing, or text in the legal industry, it was sort of two of the first use cases that were immediately coined. I think coding, pretty self-explanatory. Engineers are also really fast movers on new tech. Legal, I think, for a couple of reasons. One, there almost hasn't been this previous generation of digitalization there, because language was so hard. The previous generation of legal tech all relied on the sort of fine-tuned BERT models that you had to custom train for each specific use case, and it made it incredibly unscalable. So when LLM showed up, it was pretty evident to, I mean, not only us, but a lot of people that, oh, there's product market fit here. I think then, honestly, it took quite some time for not only the models to mature, but also the frameworks and the software around them to make them production ready. And there was a couple of initial issues, both around hallucinations, and you had to start to ground the models better, context windows, so they couldn't really work with big documents, and a lot of legal documents are very long. There's a lot of problems to solve around how you ingest and chunk PDFs, and how you're able to work with all that content. And now I feel like we've sort of gone several steps to the point where a lot of that foundational building is done. And so if you look forward in the industry, for legal professionals, I think what this tech means is you're no longer going to be bogged down making singular edits to Word documents, or saying, hey, as part of this DD, or as part of this acquisition, we need to look at 500 contracts. You're not going to sit and read through them from the first page to the last page, but you're going to rely on systems to help you make more qualified decisions. And I sometimes like to draw the parallel to like an architect. Like when an architect 25 years ago was going to draw a building, you would have to go there, you'd have to bring all your things, you'd have to sit and you sort of start planning it, and then you had to make sure that all the construction and the bearing is right and it's not going to break anywhere. But now you just use CAD, right? Like you use software to design the building much faster from your living room or from your office, and it helps you calculate all these things so you can focus on making beautiful designs. And I think that's going to happen for the legal industry too, but we're going to be focused on solving client problems. There's a huge unmet legal need that the industry just can't serve. And when some of these things will become more easily accessible, I think the entire size of the pie also grows.
Yeah, you're seeing that. We spoke to the founder of a company that's working in the kind of like financial, like wealth management industry, and it's the same thing, right? You're shifting the market that these law firms and therefore the wealth management companies are looking, and you're kind of going down the stack to help smaller companies and all of that kind of stuff. Is that part of the pitch when you are talking to these companies? I assume it's not the hardest pitch in the world.
But also if you talk with some of the biggest law firms in the world, they serve such a breadth of clientele, right? Like they're working in litigation, they're working in corporate, they're working in funds, they're working in IP, they're working in real estate, and sometimes they're not able to take on all the work just because they're sort of constrained by the human hours. And so artificial intelligence is scaling quickly. Human intelligence does not scale at the same rate. And so I think there will be a level of expectation that we rely on these systems to provide better advice, legal services, sort of across the board. But then it will, of course, strike at different rates, sort of in different practice areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd love to go into, from our point of view, we've been following Legora for a while. For many on the outside, it may look like, in quotation marks, 10 years, or 4 or 5 years run up into an overnight success, right? Like the A was a huge round, the B came shortly after the A. But hearing that story about the big stack for the RFP down at the first law firm in Stockholm, what did the early days look like for you guys? I know that you were in YC, you came out of YC with your 500K seed. What were those early days like?
Well, we actually did not get accepted in our first YC interview and our first YC application. We showed up to the interview, and I think we had prepared for 48 hours since founding the company. It went incredibly quickly, and we said, it's like the last day, we need to throw in an application. We did. We got to the interview stage, we sat down, and so there's no lawyers in the founding team at Legora, but they joined really early on. Robin was the first who came on, and in that first interview, we got so grilled on industry knowledge that it almost felt embarrassing. So after that, I listened to a song by a Swedish artist called Thåström the entire day after, and I was really sad. But the day after that, we got back on it, and I applied this trick. I wrote to a ton of lawyers on LinkedIn, and I said, hey, I'd love to pay your hourly fee and go for lunch, because I'd love to learn more about what you do and tools you're using and how you go about your work. And all of them were too nice to charge me anything for it. And most of them ended up even paying for the lunch. But what we did was we went through this very hard process of, okay, let's figure out what exactly do we want to do. And the first version of the Layup product back then in summer of 2023 was effectively a white screen with 6 big boxes, and we had 6 use cases. And it was okay, these are the 6 things that after talking to all these people, we've sort of boiled it down into, and they will solve 80% of things. That ended up not being the right direction because it was way too limiting. And then the LLM started becoming better at being able to hold memory in a conversation and all these things. So we sort of pivoted away back to the conversational AI with tool usage architecture. And I remember in the very early days, we were building our own agentic framework instead of using LangChain, because LangChain hadn't been developed enough to actually be able to build on. And so the entire stack was sort of forming. And we were 4 or 5 people back then that summer. And I remember that both Casetext got bought by Thomson Reuters for $650 million that same month. And then I think Harvey came out with their big round from Sequoia and OpenAI. And we thought, oh, great. It seems like there's other people that are interested in this industry, but they're probably busy in the US. And then we were ultra focused on first the Nordics and then broader Europe for, I'd like to say, the first 6-9 months. And we got really good at bringing Legora into a new market. Spain was actually one of the first. So maybe that will be coined in some Harvard Business Review, the classic pincer movement of Europe from Spain and Sweden, coming across like that. But following that, UK was the big focus, and then very quickly on the US. And in that, most of, I'd say, the client base has become a lot more sophisticated. So they're piloting different types of tools, they're running them against each other, and what we've seen is we've really seen a movement from AI is this check the box exercise, and we need to do a press release to please our clients, to tech and AI is going to be a strategic weapon to make my firm successful both today and in the future. And that timeline is much, much quicker than what it's ever been before. So even partners who are retiring in 5 years and they don't want to make any long-term investments because they want to buy a new car or whatever, they're taking the steps to invest, to learn, to set an example for the rest of the organization and their teams. Because I don't think there's a future. I don't think you have a future as a legal professional without being at least savvy in how you work with technology as a tool to help you achieve more.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is super interesting. That's so cool.
We are
we're
fresh
out
out of time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Max, thank you so much for your time on this amazing day. Congrats to you and the whole Legora team. We'll be cheering you on, and you know where to come when you do your Series D.
Yeah, maybe not too long. Thank you so much, Ronan. Thanks,
Cheers,
Luke.
Max.
This was
Great
great.
to chat. Really
Have a
nice
lovely
chat.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
What
Wow,
a nice
so cool.
guy.
What a absolute legend.
The first exclusive guest on ETN. We are very honoured to have Max on the show, and what a nice guy.
Yeah, what an absolute beast. Just straight off the back of that, I want to
Serious
tell you about
legend.
your new startup's financial home. It's SeaPoint. Get back control of your finances with SeaPoint. It's a business account that handles invoice payment, expenses, payroll, and reporting.
So from one law AI startup to another, we've got Vescent. 2 days ago, they released, Sifted released an article talking about their $9 million seed round. YC-backed legal tech Vescent raises $9 million in seed round funding. They have worked with Anton back at Depict. Anton actually came in as an angel, so did PG. Let's read a little bit about what they do. So, legal tech startup Vescent, they're backed by Emergence Capital, Creandum, and Y Combinator. A growing number of European startups are using AI to speed up legal workflows, with 5 such companies featuring in the Sifted B2B SaaS Rising 100, which is kind of mad. Legal
Rising 100.
Legal, yeah, I don't know what that is, but legal.
A Legora on there.
Yeah, they must.
Where are they?
Are they on there, dude? They're going to be.
Yeah, the top.
Yeah, they're top. They're on top.
They are number 1.
But Vescent, headed by Swedish co-founders Henrik Hansen and Ludvig Swanstrom, they're coming on in about 7 minutes. Uses AI agents to review law firm documents, emails, projects in Microsoft Office before they're shared with clients. Essentially, just making sure that they don't screw it up and show a client something stupid. Other investors in the round include Harry Stebbings at 20VC, YC co-founder PG, and Anton.
Stellar lineup.
It's going to be good to talk to them about what they are building. But I think we should go on to Linear's just like general video about what it's like to work at Linear. This is like a different way of hiring, right? It's like, I mean, I watched the video. It's a 6-minute long video. Go on X at Linear. They basically released like this short film where they're kind of just doing interviews with people that work in at Linear.
Yeah.
I think they went to Sweden.
It was live at Linear.
But they went to Sweden for their offsite or something. And it's a fully remote company, so literally like, software developer somewhere in like Wisconsin and a graphic designer in like Brazil, and they're all kind of coming into I think it's Sweden. And it was like just super nice. Like it was just like you can build an incredible company, but also have like really, really nice work-life balance.
Yeah,
and it's quite a refreshing take because you hear this stuff about 996 and you've got to be in the warehouse working away, doing your thing and grinding away. But Linear are $1 billion company, right? So
they're having a good time over there. They're having a great time over
there.
there.
They're killing it. Super
It's
interesting.
interesting. What I like about it is it's a launch video, really. Like you said launch, then you're kind of like, oh, maybe that.
It's not.
It is though.
It's a launch.
It's launch. It's a launch video. It's a like I saw another one. It was actually Kaikaku, Joseph. They launched their CTO hire.
Right, yeah.
Launch video around that.
Yeah.
Launch, bang, there's a launch.
Love it, yeah.
Here's launch. What can we launch now? Launch, launch, launch. I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
It just gets linear up into the timeline, and people
it's good,
reminding
yeah.
people
It's,
what
it's
it's
timeline
like.
space, it's brain space, it's branding space. It's just good advertising. And I think that, like,
They actually went to Copenhagen just to
Copenhagen, okay,
not-
brilliant. But like, I think that it's just good. It's just good practice, right? Like, it's just good to, like, we're talking about it now. Right? It was a really well-made video. It had a lovely song on it. Like, I now know what life at Linear is like. Like, it's good work. I think
If
that
I
more
was a
people should be
techie
doing
software
this.
developer, I'd be wanting to go to Linear.
Yeah, there you go.
Screw starting a startup. Let's just go to
Let's
Linear
just
and
go,
have the best time
go
of
work
life.
at Linear. Have some fun.
Go get some equity. have a
Not
good
that they don't
time.
work hard. They obviously work incredibly hard. Like, that's
Well,
not-
yeah, but it was nice.
Get
To,
that.
it was genuinely refreshing to see like, not just this like grind set stuff.
That's
and,
all like,
and
yeah.
I like the kind of like European take on it. Right? It's like you
Yeah.
can build global companies, but also just have a nice life. You know?
Yeah, I love how like the European connection there for you is have a nice life.
Yeah. Just a quick
Speaking
one
of.
from our sponsor. Let's move on from that. Did you do CPoint? Your startup's financial home.
Yeah, but give it another. I love it
Get
so
back
much.
control of your finances with CPoint, a business account that handles invoice payments, expenses, payroll, and reporting. Go to cpoint.co. They're killing it over there. They just did their pre-seed round about a month ago, 3.5 million. Growing super quick. Very exciting stuff. And yes, so we got the founders of Vescence coming on soon. Should we touch on Lovable's release? On the Lovable ambassadors.
So Lovable have launched their ambassador program. We can maybe pull this up. I'm just seeing if we can get this up.
We can pull it
yeah,
up.
nice,
It's
we
up.
can. So Lovable have launched their ambassadors program. It's a global group of builders, dreamers, and doers at the heart of the Lovable community. I think this is a brilliant move from Lovable. They are super community centric. Their product is just like the epitome of PLG. It's just
Do you know who's on there? Our
It's
friend
just on the
Bella,
menu.
Bella Wirtz is on there.
yeah, my boy Johanna is on there as well, founder of Operators and Friends, ex-Pigmanor. It's great to see him joining the ranks as a Lovable ambassador. They're doing brilliant work over there at Operators and Friends as well.
They get exclusive access to early product drops, private workshops with a Lovable team, and special perks. I wonder what the special perks are. Very
Yeah,
nice.
look, if you're interested in becoming an ambassador at Lovable, you can go to ambassadors.lovable.app. You can put in your information. If you know someone who'd be a great fit, tag them in the thread below. That is from Lovable's Twitter at lovable_dev. Really great stuff from there. So
Love that.
we love to see it. We love to see it.
It's
I
exciting. It's
do
exciting.
want to touch on. Do we have time for?
I don't know if we have time, but you know what we do have time for?
go.
For
Do it.
workspaces to make your
Hit me with the
everyday extraordinary. Work from home, at work. Private offices, whole floors, or dedicated desks. Fora offers workspace solutions for teams of all sizes, literally every size that you want.
Yeah, so I actually threw my own little line in there.
Yeah, you threw me off.
You
there.
stumbled on
You
it,
threw me
which
off.
makes me think it's not actually that good.
Workspaces to make your everyday extraordinary. That was fine. Work from home at work. I thought it was a typo. To be
Can you
honest.
guess which one's mine?
I don't know. But anyway, in 2 minutes, we have Henrik Hansen and Ludwig Swamstrom, co-founders of Essence, coming on to discuss their recent $9 million seed round. They're building the AI-driven platform designed specifically for transactional law firms. It's going to be interesting to talk to them. And I think they are on the show.
They are live.
Super good. Henrik
on
and
the
Ludwig.
European-
How's it going? Live on ETN.
Thank you. Hello, guys. How are you?
We're doing very
We're good.
well.
We're good.
We're doing a lot better now. You guys are here to tell us about the beautiful $9 million raise. I mean, before we get into that, what's your day has been like since this? How busy are you? What have you got to do today?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of traffic to our website right now.
Love to hear
Like,
it.
Hopefully you'll
actually,
get
our
more after this as well.
waiting list being crashed.
No way. Oh, no.
I love that's kind of like a badge of honor now, you know. Like I remember, like when we did Convergence, our product like just destroyed itself, and we were kind of tweeted that out, and everyone was like, "Yeah, like let's go."
I think primarily it's just about taking care of like the world clocks. You know, like we had a couple of calls with Australia, and then it's San Francisco. We're in Stockholm at the moment, so
Nice.
it's all over. And I don't really know when we're booking in all the demo calls. So it's like it started 5 p.m. this morning. I have another one at 11 p.m. tonight. So
Oh
No
my
very-
god.
way. Okay, you know, this
Serious
is very similar to
996 /
Lagora. This is very similar. We just had Max on talking about their Series C, but same thing. It's like a load
Yeah.
of demos going in. We don't know how to keep up with the demand.
But he was also like, I'm on call with lawyers like the whole day. This is just
Yeah.
like the other 20 minutes. This is
He's
like
with
my break,
clients. Yeah.
you know, between clients.
So it's good to
um,
hear.
yeah,
It's
so
good to
thanks
hear
for
it's the
joining,
Same,
knowing
same
you're
setup
busy.
for you guys. That's
Yeah, we're literally sitting at a law firm right now. So.
no way, dude. This is so similar. What the hell? I love
Yeah,
this.
it's so similar. They are building in the same space.
Yeah, I know, but you know, it's like
it's
super similar.
I want to ask a few questions about Stockholm. Stockholm is obviously like on fire, but I want to hear from you guys what you're feeling. Is is literally everyone else building as well? Like, you know, you walk down the street and you're like, oh my god, I know you from LinkedIn or X or whatever. Tell us about your experience.
I mean, the funny thing about Stockholm is like everyone knows each other. So, like, you know, Strawberry just launched their seed, and you know, me and Charles are friends since before. I don't know. It's just like a very small crowd doing really insane things.
That's
I think it's very inspiring as well. Like our old boss was Anton Ossica, who started Lovable. So like we heard it the first time he pitched it, like as the GPT engineer, and we just seen that Lovable grown to what it is today. So like we've seen that first, from first row seats. So you see that it's possible as well, which I think is amazing.
That's
Yeah,
such a
we've
good
had a
point.
few people say that on the show where it's like, this is exciting for Europe especially, and hence why we started ETN, was because you're seeing more global companies coming out of Europe, right? And it's just accelerating things because everyone else can see the path for them to do the same. So it's super
can
exciting.
be done. Funny on the GPT, the initial release, I think that was at the Operators and Friends event. I'm not sure if it was at Slush last year, but I remember Johanna, who I mentioned earlier, recent Lovable ambassador, founder of Operators and Friends, used to work with him at Pigment. I think they were sort of collaborating on setting up that day. That's really cool to hear that you guys were on the ground. But enough about Lovable. I want to hear about Vescence. Tell me more. Can you tell me about the round raised itself and break that down for us? And I'd love to get into the product and what's coming up ahead.
Of course, yeah. So we raised $9 million from Emergence leading it. 20 VCs also following on along with Creandum. Anton, as we mentioned just earlier, he's an angel. We got Paul Graham as well, operates from OpenAI.
Wow. Okay.
Very
So
exciting.
a stellar lineup straight from the off.
Yeah.
I would
I
love
think we started this company in February, and we were just working with customers, like no focus at all on raising capital. Like we wanted to find problems, but we got into YC like first trial after 1 week after our interview. So we just like hopped over to San Francisco, and then after a week there, we were invited to Paul Graham. So like it's in a short period of like 2 weeks. Where it's like we weren't thinking about funding until like, hey, we're meeting Paul Graham here. So that was insane.
That's super interesting. And
Well,
did you
that's-
like message Anton and just say, hey man, like we're
Hey,
doing this?
hey, boss. Just with Paul. Just with Paul. Do you know him?
No, we've already taken that. We have taken that step already. But we wanted to build, but it was not focused on capital in the beginning. It's more, we think like capital. There's a lot of capital on the market. It's very hard to find problems that actually matter.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing, and that's what entrepreneurs really have to care about at the moment, I'd say. Because it's easy to build a wrapper. Like ChatGPT is amazing, but finding a problem you can really solve, that ChatGPT is not really capable of doing at the moment, and like making it loved by some people. That's the hard thing. So that's what we want to spend time on. But then with YC, like you can't say no to YC. So that's what we did.
No, absolutely fair. I'd love to know what's that meeting like with Paul Graham, right? Like, I used to get nervous when I was jumping on like demo calls at my old companies. Like, I'd probably get pretty nervous when I was going for a coffee with Paul Graham, with the big PG. I don't know what I'd say. How was that? Was it in like his house? Was it at a coffee shop? Was it like at YC? Like,
Yeah, it was in his kitchen, which was so surreal. Like both me and we are like huge fans of his, and we're just standing in his kitchen. and he's like showing, oh, here's where I write my essays. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No way.
Reading them like scripture, like it's.
Yeah.
Legendary.
But I think
like,
that the greatest thing with that interaction is like you could understand how he's thinking about like funding early stage startups. And he said like quickly, like, yeah, there's 100 ways to poke hole in this idea, but I also see it working. And like that's the key thing. Like you need to be an optimist, even as a like early stage founder. You need to find like the reasons why this would work, because it's very easy to say why it wouldn't work.
Wow, that's a very powerful
So-
lesson. I think we could do with more of it.
Yeah, we could for sure. I want to go back to like the start and you guys starting and trying to find that problem. Were you just looking generally in like why law? Essentially, it's pretty niche, I guess. And there are more companies in Europe, especially coming out tackling the kind of whole law industry with AI. Why did you kind of decide to solve this problem other than the millions and trillions of other problems?
I mean, for me, it was pretty clear that, like, I mean, after, coding for multiple years, working at the PIC with Anton, Cursor coming out completely changed my day-to-day. Like, it went from me, like, sometimes pasting some stuff into ChatGPT and maybe getting some help to, launching 10 agents that are all doing different things. I'm just architecting things straight in the tools I'm already used to. I mean, they forked VS Code, right, which is like the tool I used before Cursor. So it was such a seamless experience to get like help from agents, and because it was integrated around the way I work already and providing me with suggestions, like leaving me in control, it just made so much sense. So me and Louis were like, okay, but surely, like, if we take the principles of Cursor and apply it to, close fields, such as, anything in professional services, surely there should be like a huge leverage there. So we just started like talking to so many people, like all of our friends are basically, MBB consulting or investment banking, and of course a lot of lawyers. And when we talked to the lawyers, they were just like repeating the same sets of problems over and over again. And they loved it when I showed Cursor, because the accept and reject kind of things reminded them of track changes, which is literally like the language of lawyers, really. So yeah, just showing that, and then they were like, "Hey, can you please just like try doing this in Word?"
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Should we break down the product?
Yeah, I'd love to go into the product a bit more. I guess for like, what are you guys trying to roll out first? Like, what's like top? What's the North Star for you guys in the next 6 months?
Yeah, so we're focusing heavily on review and quality rather than like generating new content. And the way we do that is like we're creating basically a linting engine, which is what in coding you have like basically a proof checking engine that's always working in the background and proactively like showing, oh, this is an error, this function is not defined and such. We're building that, but like inside a Word. And the reason why that's really, really powerful for lawyers is because they actually already have things written out. Like they have old precedents, old documents, and they just want to Frankenstein that shit together into a new document to fit their new deal. When you do that, you're going to have like internal inconsistencies in all your documents, not just internally in one document, but also across the documents that you, copy pasted from your precedents. So they just wanted to like, hey, let's just find all these issues, make them into track changes, and then I accept, reject. So that's where we're starting. We're seeing incredible usage right now. Like we're at 90% weekly active users with the lawyers at the first couple of offers we're working with now. And it just makes sense because like, why would you not press the button that finds all the errors before you send it to your senior or to your client? Like it's just such a no-brainer.
That's fascinating. And I guess like, you've got the 9 million now. Like, what is how does this get deployed from here? Is it just you two right now, or have you hired anyone yet, or like how's
so we started hiring. Obviously, team is like the biggest cost. We started hiring like a really world star team, people from Google Gemini, people from MIT, people from BCGX and stuff. So that's like one part, but then also tokens. Because of the rapid growth right now, like the token cost is starting to become like a actual problem pretty soon. So I would say those two are the main areas.
But we want to build like as a modern startup where it's like few people owning a lot of things and just so they really understand the problems that they're solving and are interacting with users. So we want to build the best product in the world, and then it's going to be a lot of engineers and a lot of product people. That's the goal.
Yeah, you're seeing more companies like stay leaner for longer, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that's the best analogy.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. And what I mean, I don't know if you guys are even thinking about this, but like what we were seeing, I've said this a few times on the show, but like our biggest like impact hire at Convergence was our graphic designer. Like, and he sat adjacent with product. Like he was very much like him and the head of product worked like insanely close together, 24/7. And you really did start, like I remember when we started putting out some new videos or like some new like product features or whatever, and like the UI changed a bit and the launch video looked a bit slicker, blah, blah. People were like, oh, have you guys raised? Like, because like, there was an obvious change, and it was like, no, we just hired this absolute beast called Sammy, who's like just a wizard on Figma. But yeah,
that's
it's
like putting on the suits, and people interpret you in another way.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Like it's like, these guys, so like, do they have
It's all
money?
smoke
Like,
and mirrors.
they've got something
exactly.
shiny and nice. Like they must be doing well.
How are you guys thinking about design? Basically, is what Roland's asking.
Yeah.
I think like the new paradigm of building companies is you have to hire people that are great at design, great at architecting code, great at talking to users, because they like all of these functions can be in one person nowadays, which is crazy. So like all of us are actually like deployed at different law firms. Like we just go to our customers like offices, and we just sit with them, and they're like, oh shit, this is really good, but I need this and this and this for it to be really useful. We literally just fucking code that live right with them in the meeting, and we're like, hey, what about this? And they're like, holy shit, how did you do this? No, we just like alongside you talking. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. They try it out and we push it to prod and it's like live. And that requires you to have taste, right? It's easy to generate slop, but if you have direction, if you like have the taste of what good design looks like, if you know how the architecture looks like, so you don't like add weird complexities in the code, if you have all of those things, you can like basically in one person swap a full division of people, full division of product managers that funnel like feedback from the customer success managers. You replace the tech lead architecting things, and you obviously replace like the junior coders.
It's like taste and empathy. That's what we really want to push. That's the crucial thing to really build something.
Nice.
I think that's the delta as well. I mean, you have so many people who have built some incredible companies saying that like the delta now is taste and style, right? And so I think you're bang on. I wanted to touch on the story of you guys like sleeping and staying at these law firms like right in the early days. That probably helped a lot to understand, building something that is actually needed, because you know that the law firms need that because you've been working with them for so long. Give us the story about you guys staying at that, those law firms, and are you still doing that now? You're in a law firm at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think that was like the great pivotal point in like our journey, really. So Cedric, our first customer, they allowed us to like actually get seats like inside a law firm. And that meant that like we could have lunch with the lawyers, we could eat dinner with them, we could go to sporting events with them. We just spend like every single waking hour with them. And when you see them sitting right next to you using your product, and they might be struggling without telling you because they're not used to good software, you can literally just like, oh wait, can you do that again? And then you fix it. And if you do that like every single hour of the day for like 3 months, your product becomes so fucking intuitive for lawyers. It's crazy. And I think like that is really the key reason why we have like these adoption numbers that we have.
That must be such a huge value add, right? Like you're literally sat with the customer, you're seeing where they struggle, you're iterating live in front of them. And what's funny is like you mentioned something then where in terms of how surprised they'd be at the speed in which you could it could literally be before the conversation has ended in the room and you've fixed the thing, right? You've turned around, like you've pushed it and it's live in prod. Like Max was saying when they first went into their first law firm, they dropped like an RFP stack of just a massive paper. It was like, we're not going to talk to you until you've done all of this. And they did it in 48 hours. but he was so worried that they wouldn't believe that he'd actually done it properly because it was so short in their mind that he actually waited for a week and then gave it them because like he knew that they'd be like, well, there's no way you did this in 48 hours because you obviously cut corners because that can't happen. But I like to see that you guys are doing, you know, the exact same thing, right? And it must be shocking to these legacy industries that are so used to, like, I guess, you know, long hours,
Process
maybe, like,
and stuff,
process, regulation, like bureaucracy and stuff, and they're getting too, like, you know, geniuses come in and just flip the script on them. Like, it must be a really cool feeling.
But I think also like in these legacy industries, they're so used to horrible software where like, I mean, we as startups, we can change our CRM or whatever. Like if there's just a button that is faster or whatever it is, like I'll just switch immediately. But in the legacy industries, they're not used to software being able to develop at that like incremental space where it's like, yeah, this button doesn't work now, but I will do it in this way instead. Now it works. So that type of incremental thinking and like the compounding of software development, it's not really someone has been doing it. It feels like, at least in most of the professional services spaces that we've seen, at least.
Yeah. I want to go back to Paul Graham and understand what he was like thinking when you guys were pitching and talking about Vescence, the early kind of iterations
In the
of Vescence,
kitchen.
I guess. Yeah, in the kitchen. What was he thinking? Why did he think that this needed to be done, and why did he think that you guys were the people to go and do it?
I mean, what he knows and what we started to like understand when we were talking to our friends that worked at law firms, that was that like there are AI softwares out there, but the truth is that they haven't transformed the way they work like coders have. Like people are, you know, basically using these systems to chat with a chatbot, and that chatbot is usually, you know, basically a ChatGPT behind the scenes. And even then, like you could probably like have this and do some incredible things with just as a chatbot. But the problem is that lawyers, they're not AI engineers. They don't know what things will work and when it will not work well. And that is even changing every month. Like every month there's a new model. A prompt that didn't work last month might be working today. So I think like a lot of companies are asking too much of the lawyers that are already super busy.
Users in general as well, like it's every industry.
Exactly. So that's one part. And then the second part is like integrating the tools into the tools they already use. Like if it's a separate web app, they have to actively think like, oh, maybe I can use this software to do this. So that's like adding another layer of friction. So like just taking that cursor analogy, like the first sentence we told him was like, hey, we're building Cursor for lawyers. And he just was thinking for like 40 seconds before, like he was just like, on that statement alone, he was like hooked basically.
And there's so much like dev tools that is needed in other industries. I think it's like linter you mentioned in the beginning, like every industry should have some type of linter as just as software developers. So there is so many commonalities that you can actually be inspired by and build for other industries.
And what I think is really interesting is the linter. No one talks about the fact that the linter is what really makes coding agents work so well, because the coding agent, when it writes something, it always uses the linter to check its own work before it shows it to the user. And that can happen for like maybe like 10 hundreds of iterations before like any user sees the work of the agent. In legal, there's nothing like this. So usually people just like try generating something and they get like some bullshit basically, and then you lose faith. But if you start with building that linting engine, it can immediately be used because we can like check the work of AI and humans like day zero, and then we have this foundation. Like we're building everything on top of like this quality assurance foundation, and thus like everything we generate will actually be of really high quality.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like what a start, right? Like,
I feel like you're so close to PMF / have already hit it because you've just been working so closely with them, and you're basically like working beside your customers, right?
It's like living with the customers.
It gives you such a
I recommend every startup to do it.
It sounds good. We are about to hit time. I'm just gonna like, where can we send people? Like, where is the best thing to promote for you guys right now? Is it the website? Is it the socials? Like, is it both? Is it everything? Where can we direct people?
I would say vescence.com for sure.
That's
And what's the
And if you want to chat with us, LinkedIn is the best.
okay,
LinkedIn's best.
LinkedIn to chat, Essence to get the value.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What's the GTM kind of looking like other than going into these offices? Like, is it a lot of word of mouth, and it's like, oh, you should probably go to these guys as well. You know, they're down the road, and then you go into the offices, and then that's your product essentially integrated because you're in the offices, right? Like, what's the GTM looking like?
Word of mouth is amazing, and it's the most honest, and it's working really well for us. So we're doing that, and we also do we do outbound as well. If you do outbound well, like it actually works really well. So realizing that it's not just another AI sort of solution, and having that like explanation of why you're doing something makes a lot of sense to many. So we have, I had 10 intro calls I think yesterday. And they all went really, really well. So, and I'm going to an onboarding now in 10 minutes. So we have a lot of work to do.
Good stuff.
GTM doesn't feel like a problem right now.
That's
We'll
so good to hear.
we'll let you go.
Yeah, we're warming it
'cause
over, but you
got-
guys need to get back to grinding it out. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's we'll be keeping up with you as you go along, and I guess we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for that big Series A when the time comes.
It sounds great.
Yeah,
So nice meeting you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
really
having
nice
us.
to meet you guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Exciting stuff.
Something's in the water.
Everything's
in
happening
the Nordics.
in Stockholm. It's just
Something is
mad.
in the water because it's just producing.
And our good friends there as well. Guillermo is there. Guillermo Flor, if anyone knows him, big on LinkedIn. Has a very good newsletter as well. He is on the ground in Stockholm talking to the best and the baddest, maybe not the baddest, the most good founders.
The goodest.
The goodest founders.
Let me just tell you about our friends over at Seapoint. It's your new startup's financial home, by the way. Get back control of your finances with Seapoint. It's a business account that handles invoice payments, expenses, payroll, and reporting.
I want to talk about NVIDIA investing $1 billion into Nokia.
Okay.
The Financial Times came out the other day
Let me see if
with
I can pull this one up.
an article. They said NVIDIA plans to invest $1 billion into the telecoms operator Nokia in a move that will see the US chip giant become one of the Finnish group's largest shareholders and marked a strong endorsement of its strategy to expand in AI. I wanted to go on what Jensen Huang was saying. He said that while telecommunications technology, the lifeblood of the industry and national security, was designed in the US, most wireless tech now runs on foreign hardware. That has to stop, NVIDIA's chief added. So essentially, this is a play to make sure that NVIDIA, and therefore the US, keeps wireless tech in the country, which is a very clever play.
I mean,
Very
look, when I saw this,
But it's great because it brings money to the Finnish.
no, I think it's a great thing, right? Like, one, I kind of forgot Nokia existed, but like, two, I think it's a great thing. But like, I'm just picturing like Nokia employees, like, sort of sat in the office, sort of like, I don't know, chilling out, like on the phone maybe, and they're like, one guy just like breaks the door, like, NVIDIA want to invest $1 billion. Like, everyone's kind of getting up, like, wait, what? Like, this is not a drill.
We've got work to do. Oh my god.
I was just so surprised to see this. Like, I hadn't seen Nokia's name in, so maybe I'm obviously out the loop with,
Nokia.
well, yeah, like networking, sort of like telecoms in general.
Yeah.
But I think there was something about like, yeah, this is the first time I've seen this as well. Maybe again, I'm just behind and I'm not like at the frontier of this industry, but like, it's to help work and upgrade like from 5G to 6G. It's like, oh, like, 5G, like, let me tell you a little something about 6G, like, even better, like, than that, that old thing we've got over there. Like, I know people in the UK are still, like, trying to smash down the 5G towers. Like, I don't know, like, it obviously is, like, it's obviously quicker, it's more streamlined, I guess, but this was such, this was such an interesting one.
Rogue news. Well, I mean, they obviously switched from building phones when Apple and Samsung started obviously taking over the market and started focusing on telecommunications.
You do love those pivots though, right? It's like with BlackBerry, they now do like cybersecurity.
Exactly. Well, look, they had to, right? And there was a little comment in the FT article that basically said maybe they'll come back to smartphones.
Oh,
Maybe.
really?
Yeah, just maybe.
Who's writing that thing? What a troll.
What a troll. But they...
Like, it's not like a short
No.
story. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, and then he woke up. And like, they actually didn't have any billion investment from NVIDIA. Like, this
It
is
was
the
all a
FT,
dream.
for God's sake.
But Nokia's share price has obviously skyrocketed after this news of £1 billion quid coming in. I think NVIDIA got like 2.9% of the company.
2.9% stake in the telecoms
right.
group in return for its investment, with Nokia issuing 166,389,351 new shares directly to NVIDIA. And yes, Nokia surged by 21% to a 10-year high following the announcement on Tuesday. It's mad that like a decade long, and Jensen Huang can just be like click.
Billion quid.
Here's
Well, no, he
like,
didn't just click.
here's
He invested
the-
£1 billion quid.
or did the billion click, and like here's like your stock performing the best it's ever done in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I decided to look in your direction.
Yeah.
Like, that's just nuts, isn't it?
It shows the power of NVIDIA, right? New $5
It's
trillion
crazy.
company.
It's almost like he's a god walking among men.
Well, he does own the most valuable company in the world, right?
Yeah.
On other news, you've also got Apple hitting $4 trillion. It happened like a day after.
Join the 4 trillion club.
I
I'd
just
love
think
to
it's
see it.
mad that like a few years ago we were talking about will Apple be the first $1 trillion company, and now we're at $5 trillion. That's nuts.
Yeah. It's all kind of bonkers. I mean, the 4 trillion club. Welcome, Apple. So good to have you. Again, the bags were pumping. It's so good to see.
Bags
But like,
pumping.
also, I was thinking about this last night because I look at my phone and like it's just green, and like
Yeah.
that's great. I'm not bragging, like, but what it does make me think is like I'm not a good investor. I suck at investing.
Right.
I've been in every single crypto cycle and I've probably lost money overall. I was like super early to NFTs. And I made like a tiny bit, but I should have made well more. Like, I'm not a good investor, but I'm up like 25% in the last 6 months. I'm
Yeah.
like outperforming the S&P by like 3x.
Well, it's probably because you're holding any form of tech stock right now.
Well, that's
We're
what
in-
I'm saying. Like,
a
that
bull market.
surely the fact that I am up,
Yeah, but everyone's up.
That-
That's the problem. That's not the
that's
problem.
what
the
I'm
thing.
getting scared about. That makes me think, is this...
Everyone's
Like,
talking
it-
about
it-
the AI bubble, but
I know we're now, and we're not like,
I don't know if I
we're not
believe
bubble
it.
busters. We're not like, I don't want to
I
go
don't
too
know
much
if I
into
believe
it. I think it's interesting, but at the same time, it's like this feels very reminiscent of just prior to like the GME, GameStop, like mania, like when
Have we
penny
hit the
stocks
top?
were-
Have we hit the top signal?
Because, dude, I remember on Trading
What is the top
212,
signal?
I was at uni, and it was just like whenever we got our student loan, me and the boys would just like chuck it into any like lithium-ion battery stock we could get our grubby mitts on Trading 212. You wake up the next day and it's like 100% up like
Yeah.
every day. It was
Yeah.
nuts. Like, and that were one. It was fun because we were at uni and we were like, what the hell? This is so like easy. But two, it's obviously dangerous because like,
trader.
it made me think like I'm a sick trader. I was like I was on my phone like which stock's got a cool name and like pressing that and then thinking like, oh, look at me, I'm a genius. It's just like obviously floor. I think there was one point where I'm turning the phone outside, I'm looking at the candles, I'm like looking at like the candle light. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking at, but
Candle go up equals
yeah,
the
I was
S.
like, fingers crossed for a green one next.
Just a quick word from
Quite
Jack and
literally
Jill. Do not miss the unmissable jobs at the hottest companies. Jack and Jill will listen to what you want and search thousands of new jobs every hour to find job opportunities worth seeing. Just did their 20 million seed round. They're acquiring companies
I think I've
like crazy. So, yes, exciting stuff. Oh, yeah.
forgot to mention this is Jack and Jill's startup ticket. This is essentially a free hire with Jack and Jill. So one free hire for each portfolio company. It's worth 25k. You can claim it in up to 30 seconds by scanning this. Luke and I will be handing these out at Slush to any of the lucky people that we bump into, specifically for VCs. It basically gets you a free hire in your portco. That's with Jack and Jill, and it is the golden ticket, as you can see there on the screen. Jack and Jill.
Next up,
Doing
we
what needs to
have
be done.
Johan Jakob, founder of FlowX AI. I think it's FlowX or Floats AI.
FlowX AI.
They deploy banking, insurance, and logistics AI agents in weeks, proven in production. He's going to come on and talk about what they're building. Yeah, it's going to be good. I think he might be
I
joining.
think
like
we
now.
have Johan coming into the
Is
studio.
Johan in?
I
We
think
need.
We can hear you. Johan, can you hear us? Amazing. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
Indeed.
good afternoon. We can hear you and see you, but our viewers can't. Can I ask you on the Google Meet, are you able to hit both links? I'm not sure if you have already, but there should be a video and also a Riverside. If you can join both, one is for our lovely viewers and one is for me and
Us.
my partner in crime over here, Luke.
The ETN boys.
Team ETN.
While Johan's doing that, just a quick word from C-Point, your startup's financial home. Get back control of your finances with C-Point, a business account that handles invoice payments, expenses, payroll, and reporting. Go to cpoint.co. Killing it.
C-Point getting the love today.
C-Point are
You
good.
love to see it.
They're pretty good stuff.
Just checking with our producer if we are good to
Are we in?
go.
Believe.
Johan.
Johan's coming in. The show. We're in.
Yeah.
Johan's
we
live on
are
ETN. How's it going?
Live on. How are we?
Well, hey, good morning or good afternoon, actually. Good
Good
morning
afternoon.
from the East Coast.
Yes. Dude,
It's-
what's new? Tell us
Yeah.
tell us about what you're building, and then we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here. Now at FlowX AI, what we've been building is this AI native multi-agent platform that today is orchestrating over 140 specialized banking and insurance agents. At the core of it sits our proprietary machine learning engine. It's the Enterprise AI Core, which is essentially a control layer above LLMs, and we use that to deliver deterministic and compliant and zero hallucination outputs, and then everything runs on a high availability, scalable architecture.
Awesome stuff.
And yeah, we're already in production with we've been in stealth mode for the past several years, but we have actually during that period we've been working with a couple of very large financial institutions globally. So our technology is already in production in some of the most reputable names in the banking and insurance industry.
Which is like nuts, by the way. Like for the viewers who don't know, like FlowX.ai have raised like 35 million Series A, was it? It was an A, right?
Yes, at the time in 2023, it was the largest Series A globally in enterprise software.
Just insane achievements. And it's obviously you guys have been working incredibly hard since then. Tackling a really hard, this seems to be a common theme in today's show, but like tackling a really hard industry to get into, right? There's a lot of barriers to entry, it's high trust. How hands-off can people be with these agents? Like, do you need a human in the loop? You probably want a human in the loop. But FlowX.ai, you say you're already working with some massive institutions. Can you break it down? Like, what is FlowX specifically, and what are the agentic products that you guys are building?
So our agentic products are these deep domain encoded agents for mission critical flow. So commercial onboarding, underwriting, mortgages, claims, risk ops, fraud. So they cover the entire spectrum of mission critical flows in banking and insurance. And these are all agents that plug in quickly and safely into the existing systems of record, integrate into existing UIs, and they embed these like top expert judgment in every step of the workflow. So every decision is explainable, is governable, is repeatable. And even though we're just coming out of stealth mode, as I was saying, Gartner actually listed earlier this year FlowX AI in the 2025 digital banking market guide because the technology is already deployed in major banks around the world, and the results are nothing short of impressive. And we've been actually working together as a team for over a decade now. We have a previous successful exit. Actually, it is that company where we built most of the technology. So we've been, looking at applying AI into the enterprise world, and particularly in financial services, for quite a while now. the same founders and the same core engineering team. We've been together for quite a bit now.
So when you came out of Stealth, I assume you'd been building these relationships and the trust with these financial institutions. Is that at all a hurdle in kind of integrating this technology into kind of new customers, or do they already kind of know you from word of mouth, but also your time in the industry before actually kind of going to market?
Actually, it's super interesting that what we're seeing right now is a lot of demand for agentic capabilities, and we're definitely seeing a big shift in the market. I think 2024 and kind of until mid 2025, things were a lot about exploratory and pilots, and but now there's like a real urgency in the market to adopt AI, and we're seeing this across financial services. We're seeing this, banking, insurance. Just to give you an idea, we have significant amount of inbound today, even though we basically have no marketing available, no lead gen campaigns. We still get significant inbound today from people asking, well, do you have agents? And I think it's because and I think everybody talks about this right now. It's a MIT report that talks about how 95% of the AI initiatives are actually failing. And I think there's a real need for robust AI that can deliver in production, which is not, and the market has kind of figured out that not everything that demos well is actually good enough for production. And people have been playing with agent builders for a while, and then they realized that, well, it's something fairly different that we need in order to take AI in a very scalable way to production.
And that's a tough.
So
sorry, go on. I'll cut you off.
No, please go ahead.
It's a tough thing to do in that specific industry, right? Like I can't even imagine how many hurdles you'll have to go through until you get the first one done. From the client side, right? There's probably like a million things that you have to get right in terms of trust and safety and guardrails and all that sort of stuff when you're dealing with the specific industries that you're dealing with. What is it that's like in a regulated industry? How do you marry we need to innovate and move fast, and we need to like smash through this thing and create something crazy that works and provides value, but also like how do we do that in a regulated environment? Like how do you go about taking that into account when you're deploying / building these agents?
Well, the truth is you cannot build everything custom every single time, right? And this is why we've been, after our Series A, we've been heads down on technology development for 2 years and even a bit more than that. And I don't know, I mean, look at OpenAI or NA10, and what they're doing is actually very, very cool, and we love their products. But you cannot readily apply those products to mission critical systems in regulated industries. It's exactly what you're saying. And actually, the interesting thing is, to deliver AI for enterprise, 80% of the work actually barely touches AI. You need to plug into existing systems. You need to embed in existing mobile and web applications UI. You need to provide auditability and explainability, and actually a deterministic consistency of the AI responses is what most of the financial services institutions will require. Then you need to deliver guardrails against, injection or malevolent intent, and you need scalability, you need data privacy, and then there's the very specific expertise. So what we do at FlowX AI is we deliver all of that in a box embedded in every agent, and we enable banks to go live with very, very sophisticated, very complex agents in literally weeks. With just a minimum amount of integration work and a minimum amount of fine-tuning and tweaking, which is, by the way, something that we're providing. So we're trying to reduce any pressure on the bank's IT. So we have this concept, all those things that we're packaging that in this concept that we call AI Rails. And basically, AI Rails are all the things that you need in order to deploy AI successfully at scale in very large enterprise organizations. And the reason we call it Rails is because historically, if you look at how the American West was developed, railroads played a very significant role in that. Right? It was not sufficient to have the technological innovation of the steam engine. People needed rails to deploy steam engines fast and reliably across America. And the metaphor still holds today. And then we saw it with Ruby on Rails. Ruby was this great programming language that people really loved. I really loved, by the way. And then 37 Signals put it on Rails. And before that, it was very hard to do web development with it. But once 37 Signals put it on quote unquote Rails, that opened up Ruby for web development. And then some really good projects came out of that. I mean, Airbnb, Shopify, Coinbase, GitHub, like some of the coolest startups were developed on top of Ruby on Rails from their first prototype to IPO scale. And as I was saying earlier, there's all these Rails that are required to take AI across the enterprise fast and reliably. Now we have over a decade of specialized R&D investment in building these Rails. And yeah, I would say, fundamentally there's kind of 4 categories of things you need. Integrations. So you need to plug into both modern and legacy systems safely and fast to leverage existing data. But you need to enforce proper data access and plug into existing bank systems, whether it's FIS, Fiserv, Finastra, Jack Henry, or on-prem mainframes. And by the way, you can't afford to wait a year to develop an integration to one of those systems. You need to do it in weeks. And then you need to encode deep financial expertise into the agents. And again, this is where we're coming in and providing these ready-made agents for banking and insurance that are tested, that are production grade and have all the intelligence built in. You can't afford hallucination, you need accuracy of AI, so you can't afford to have hallucinations in mission critical flows, mission critical flows. And you need compliance as a first class feature, because this is one of the, by the way, was one of the most complicated things that we had to build into the FlowX AI engine. And in our case, FlowX AI is essentially a fully policy-aware environment where every flow, every microservice, every AI agent is automatically checked against organization and regulatory requirements before deployment or also at runtime. So we have this dynamic AI governance layer that interprets and enforces banking policies directly with the platform. And this gives the banks real-time compliance validation and explainable reasoning and the ability to update rules very, very quickly, but instantly, essentially, without having to retrain models or writing custom code. Actually, the funniest thing about this is what we discovered, what we learned from our customers is that 100% enforcement of policy is not desirable, which is, and you mentioned this, which is why we actually need, and I believe we will need, human in the loop for a very, very long time. And more than human in the loop, we need human in control. I recall this conversation with a VP retail from one of the large banks that we're working with. And she was saying that, listen, if we were to enforce 100% of the policy that we have developed, our business would be completely frozen. So while you need that watchdog there, in the AI agent, you ultimately need the human to make the decision based on the explainable output that the agents are providing.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense in terms of, like, those particular industries, finance, healthcare, anything where there's financial risk / like health risk should always, maybe not always, maybe I'm thinking too pessimistically, but it sounds like they'll always kind of need a human in the loop just to make sure that it's not done something rogue. Like if I'm using like a note-taking app, I don't need someone sat there to like, let's just check all these notes are definitely correct. Yes, like that's all. I can live with a few mistakes there, right? Like if a word's spelled wrong or it's misheard something in the conversation. But in this particular regard, I don't know if there is a future where we have no human in the loop, right? Like I think maybe you kind of always need someone to be there just to make sure Like, it's not-
I believe no human in the loop, like you're saying, is very, very far away. I think, and I think Karpathy was speaking recently about this, about how AGI is actually very far away from today. And yes, a lot of companies are trying to market that they're very close to AGI in order to raise money quickly, but the true AGI is actually very far away. So right now, yes, and the way we approached that challenge, because Karpathy is making a lot of fantastic points, right? You don't have general LLMs that are capable of fully robust reasoning out of the box. But, and by the way, most companies, including very, very big companies, are super happy to do like a lightweight wrap around an existing LLM and then ship it, which, is almost good enough for simple generic agents to automate simple tasks. But it doesn't really work for consistent production grade outcomes in highly regulated industries. And I think his point was that for enterprise grade AI, there's I really love how he formulated his, watched his interview a couple of times actually. There's a very large demo to product gap, where the demo is very easy, the product is very hard, I think he was saying. And that's because, it's the unseen things under the hood that are making the difference, the Rails. And I really loved his concept of, I've never heard that before, his concept around the March of the Nines. Right? Like people build demos and he was saying something that works 90% of the time, but the truth is in enterprise, you need 99.99999% accuracy. And what I want to propose to you is actually that every single 9 is an ever increasing amount of work, right? So this is why teams like us who have spent over a decade of R&D, applying AI in mission critical environments in the enterprise and are coming from the enterprise to AI, have a truly unfair advantage over newly minted startups or even over very large organizations that are starting to apply AI today as a band-aid on top of their products. It's just not going to cut it. Right? Because beyond the Rails, the steam engine needs to be incredibly robust. And the only way to achieving that without a generically intelligent LLM is with super, super specialized agents. And this is, by the way, how we're doing. We're doing deterministic orchestration between hundreds of micro agents that are super specialized on one task only. And that also helps us get over the reinforcement learning problem. But we have human in the loop and human in control across that entire deterministic orchestration. And again, this provides a lot of confidence for the bank. And we believe that we need to serve up the humans with the results.
Yeah, I want to ask, with the very kind of long R&D process of building the company, how has things with AI have changed like astronomically from 10 years ago, right? Has that helped you to kind of really hone down on specifics of building the agents, or is it we have to now kind of start again because something else was just released? Say for example the ChatGPT release in 2022. How did that affect you guys in the R&D process of building the agents, and then talking to the potential customers where you were this massive change has just happened, so now we need to kind of almost go back to the drawing board? Was that good, or was that a struggle?
For us, it was fantastic, actually, because we started as FlowX AI before AI was cool, right? Before the ChatGPT AI hype. So at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, we were spinning out the FlowX AI from the previous company and starting off. And actually, it was very funny because at the beginning, we had a massive credibility problem because people were like, AI doesn't exist. AI is just some hand waving. And then ChatGPT came along in 2022, and that was amazing because it gave us such an incredible boost. Plus, we have been able to plug into LLMs, and that was again another turbo boost for our product. But we've been, believing, and we've been developing AI for enterprise for a very long time. So actually, the entire platform that we have built, the Rails, were incredibly useful for the agentic offering that we're having today.
Yeah, so it made you
So
become
it,
Yeah.
essentially. It became cool
Yeah.
over years.
but it was absolutely amazing to watch that transformation after ChatGPT was launched, when people were like, "Oh my God, AI is actually real." That was
Yeah, it's like a good onboarding moment, right? It kind of like brings it, it makes it more conceivable in the eyes of someone who isn't maybe like a native to the space, right? In a weird way, it was kind of like NFTs with crypto. It's like, I don't understand crypto, but hey, that's a pretty cute dog, so I'm going to go buy it. Like, it sounds weird, but it's like, it was a great onboarding mechanism for people into the space, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, the availability of it was fantastic, because suddenly people realized that, well, now there's a lot of urgency and I need to get on board with this. Right? Pretty much what we were doing before ChatGPT on AI was seen as almost a nice to have, like yes, this can give us like a massive competitive advantage, but you know what? We're good without it. We're not going to die without it. And I think what we're seeing right now is that AI is seen as a do or die type of thing. And what's very fun is that we're seeing, LinkedIn posts and blog posts from a lot of bankers that are saying, like, we, for the first time, we actually need to move super, super fast, or we're completely doomed, because the future belongs to the organizations that are deploying AI, and there's some compound effect that accumulates very quickly once you start deploying, and then it's the era of speed. So organizations that had never been focused or geared on speed are now pushed into that direction now because of competition.
Yeah, no, and one born out of like wherever is there more like prominent space to try and gain a comparative advantage over your competitors, right? Like that would be if my competitor's doing it, I need to be doing it as well. Let's stay at the forefront of anything that's progressing.
Exactly.
So it makes complete sense. Johan, we're actually we're fresh out of time. We're 2 minutes over, but it's been such a pleasure to talk to you, hear more about FlowX. Please keep us in the loop for future progressions. We'd love to stay on top of everything that you guys are doing, and it's always an open seat for whenever you want to come back.
Indeed.
Fantastic. Was great to be here. Thank you again for the invite.
No, the pleasure's all
Good
ours.
stuff.
Thank
Really
you
nice to
very
meet
much.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Ciao. Very rare that you hear like, yes, we've got agents and they're actually in like banks.
Yeah.
Like that's
It's because
That's a pretty rare-
it's probably because they've been working on R&D for like 10 years, right? It's like
yeah, sure, I rate that.
they've
just sharpening
been
that
grinding
sword.
away in the shadows, and then eventually they've come out of the shadows and now
And they got
and
a
they're
load of
killing it.
ARR with them. Look all this ARR we found in the shadows.
It's just
over
in
there.
the,
You guys should
in the closet.
take a
It's
look
just,
over
it
there.
just came out.
I'd love to hear that.
We were meant to have a little surprise guest on, but that was on me. I forgot to reply to a few messages, so I apologise to both of you. But I wanted to talk about the story that was happening.
Wait, do I know the surprise guest or not?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You could have just not told me.
I mentioned Nathan Beniak. I'm pretty sure you pronounce it that way. He quoted, and then I re-quoted, saying that we were going to talk about it at 1:20 p.m. today. So I think I should do that, even though I didn't get the other guests on. We will get them on soon. But he quoted on a Financial Times article talking about the German startup set for deal on kamikaze drones with Rheinmetall. Contracts worth up to 900 million euros, put Helsing and Stark on track to help buttress NATO's eastern flank against Russia. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because Nathan quoted this with something that I felt was quite important, and he was like, "This is the way." Or do you want to get it? Do you want to get it
I
up?
can pull it up.
We put it up on the screen.
We can pull that thing up.
Let me know it's on the screen, and I'll read it out.
I think it's coming up.
Are we good to go?
I mean, you start.
We're good to go. This is the way. Not buying from a single prime, but having 3 primes from the same capability, because they bought from Helsing, Stark, and someone else, I can't remember who, to allowing a company to win without prior revenue with government. Law usually says you need to have X million of revenue already to be able to bid on a 10X million contract and moving fast. And I think this is important for us as the ETN show to kind of comment on this and comment on Nathan's quote, because it's true, right? It's a clear like change from what you would usually see, I guess. And it's super interesting to know and to see that like Germany is like actually actively deploying these drones on the East Coast, not the East Coast, the West Coast, and I think it's great.
Yeah, no, shout out to the team there. They're doing amazing stuff. We always love to see a new defense push, right? A new breaking story
Exactly.
in the defense arena. Guest coming up next is the one and only Thomas Bacon. Recently closed out a 1.2 million pre-seed with participation from the guys over there at Players Fund. Thomas is building Lolu. It is, and I'm keen to ask a few more questions, particularly about
saunas.
It's saunas with an OS layer involved, so it's digging into contrast therapy, you know, exposure to both heat and cold as well, right? And I'm intrigued, like, what the business model is here, because they've deployed their first sauna, built their first sauna, and like that's, you know, 1&T alone. Like, are you charging per usage? Are you charging like an area who have paid to have that sauna in there? And then the OS layer on top of that, is that a subscription fee? Is it like a Whoop? Am I paying like X amount a month? Does that give me access to the sauna? I don't know. So I'd love to dig into that a bit more with him. And speaking of that, you know, the realm of this sort of health and wellness area, our boy Brian Johnson has raised 60 million for Blueprint recently. We mentioned it earlier. I am a huge fan of Brian. I think he's a great guy. I think he's doing God's work. I remember seeing a lot of people that were, let's just see if we can pull this up. I remember seeing a lot of people that were basically like, I know it's not there. Anyway, saying a lot of things about Brian in terms of like, wow, look at how he's living his life. So this was after the Netflix documentary came out, right? They were sort of like, oh yeah, that's so, like, he's like, I don't know how to explain this, but he's saying like, this is a healthy way to live your life, yes. And the people on this talk show are saying like, why would anyone want to live like that? Like, that's not a good way to live your life. You're actually not even living your life. You're just existing. Like, because his day is, you know, wake up at, you know, God knows what time, very, very early, consume X amount of pills, do like 2 hours of routine, then eats that one meal, the green machine style thing with the, and you know, it's very easily clapped out. It's like, I think it's 20 something pills a day. Like, yes, the average individual might look at that and say, that is not how I like to live my life. And that is fair. I wouldn't want to live my life like that personally. However, I do think it's unjust that, you know, people in this talk show, I forget which one it was specifically, it's something in America, will sit there and sort of mock this individual, and even the phrasing in the sense where like no one wants to live like that. That's not living your life. That phrase alone, he should be celebrated for what he's doing, because he's essentially sacrificing his own enjoyment, his own enjoyment. He says he enjoyed it. That's great, but he's sacrificing living like a normal life to push the frontiers of biological progression, longevity. Like, he's using himself as the guinea pig.
This is part of his pitch.
I don't think. No, not really. But
Like,
I think
I am sacrificing my.
I don't think it is, to be fair, part of his pitch. This is more like what I have sort of like decided to
This is your take.
visualize and analyze. But I do think he's kind of sacrificing himself for the greater good in a
he
way
is,
where
yeah.
it's like, dude, the guy's getting up like super early. Like, I hate getting up super early. Not that alone, obviously, but like his life is very abnormal, and it's not suited to everyone. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
think we should sit there and say like, oh, actually you're wrong, because why would anyone want to live like that? Like, that phrasing and that statement alone is exactly why we should be cheering him on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian, for doing what you're doing. In my opinion, I think he's a brilliant individual. I think he's very funny as well. That was amazing. You know, there's like a rumor about like how he might be a vampire. This was like before the documentary, when he first started.
He only gets a certain amount of like sunlight and stuff, right?
Yes, and there was a joke thing like someone saying like, apparently he's a vampire, and then he was on like he did a podcast. He was like, I'm not a vampire, like, it's just me. Like, and then a couple of days later, he was at the YC demo day, and it's like a really sunny day, and he's the only person stood there with like an umbrella, like blocking the sun, and his skin's like super pale, and I was like, it's exactly how a vampire would be stood. Like obviously a vampire would have like an umbrella blocking the sun.
Yeah, but the sun is bad. It's bad for you.
Sun is bad for you. I'm just looking at our producer. I'm thinking that we've got Thomas Bacon in the studio. Thomas, we can hear you and see you, but I think our viewers can't. I think there is an extra link in the Gmeet. It's like a VDO link. If you can hit that double link, it's a little bit of a barrier entry. We need to sort out how to make this a bit more fluid.
We had good for the
this happens
first
all the
like
time.
three.
Yeah, the other week was a nightmare. Right, we had like every guest.
We're just waiting for our producer to give us the green light.
Give us
I think we can see you coming on the stream soon.
I think.
3. Oh, really?
No, that's
Which
all
conversation did you join?
good. Yeah, we're in? Okay,
We're
boom.
doing super
Oh,
early.
we're live.
I walked into
You're live on air right now.
Where did you walk in? You walked into where?
Wait, was it a previous conversation, a previous interview? Or was it just...
yeah, I don't know, but I walked into some random other bloke talking, and I felt very awful. So apologies to whoever that was.
That is so
Some
funny.
random
We
other
didn't know.
bloke.
We couldn't see you. That's funny. Thomas, it's great to have you on the
Okay,
show.
great. Well, maybe no one else.
No, all good. No one noticed, so it's fine. But now we've told the whole world anyway. Well, our viewers. It's great to have you on the show. It's great to have you here with us. We were just talking about Lolu specifically, and then also we thought it was relevant to bring up that Brian Johnson has just done 60 million with Blueprint. Huge fan of his. Before we discuss like the wider market of the wellness space, would love to go deeper into specifically what is Lolu. And then specifically your launch video, which is rumored to be slightly cheeky. And I'll say that because if anyone has seen it, they will know why. But yeah, why don't you walk us through what Lolu is first, what's happening in your day, how is it post 1.2 million pre-seed raise?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks both for having me. It's really cool what you guys are building here. So excited to contribute in my small way. And yeah, I suppose in simple terms, what we're trying to create at Lolu is the operating system to support this massively kind of flourishing, albeit very much in its nascent stages of contrast therapy. Contrast therapy is basically the sort of fancy term for getting really hot and cold. And for most people, that just means sauna and cold plunging, or sauna and getting into the sea, or sauna and getting into a lake, whatever it might be. And yeah, basically, we're really excited to try and ultimately create that operating system, that platform that any sauna operator, any business that wants to get into this space can use, providing them with basically the kind of all-in-one toolkit, everything from how they should run through their compliance and planning and licensing, all the way through to their end user experience, and actually just things that will help them as managers to make their lives easier. It's an industry that is as old as written words. I mean, there are kind of examples of sauna and something similar to sauna from all over the world, dating back 10,000 years. But it's basically an industry that has almost no purpose-built or useful software around it. And so that's basically what we're trying to change. So yeah, that's kind of a super high level. We're starting by partnering with like actually existing businesses. So we're partnering with sports clubs. At the moment, paddle clubs tend to be the ones who've been most excited to work with us. Obviously, itself a relatively new industry, which is kind of booming. And I suppose our kind of high-level philosophy is sauna and cold plunging is not something that I want to compete with other activities for people's time. I think it's a perfect complement to almost any other activity, whether that's like finishing your work day at a co-working space and having a sauna, or it's like going on a run or playing a game of paddle. And so, yeah, my firm belief is that by putting this in places people already go, that's a pretty good start to getting more people into it.
Nice.
Awesome. So
nice.
you just to know, so obviously you're building the OS level, kind of level of this world. You're not building saunas at all, or you are?
No, so at the moment, part of the offering is that we're actually physically building some of these sites, and the logic behind our go-to-market is kind of, I guess, there's two things. The first is I quite like being able to make money from day one, rather than waiting for 18 months to 2 years and basically being reliant on investor money. So we'll be profitable as a business by the end of this year, and we'll not have to raise again if we don't want to. Quite a nice route. And I suppose secondly, and probably more importantly, I'm just quite a big believer in eating your own dog food being the proper way of being able to understand what you therefore need to productize. There were so many hypotheses that we had prior to kicking off about what we thought would be really complicated or what we thought would be really easy. And like you basically just realize quite quickly the things that actually are painful, the things that aren't. And so the route that we're taking means, we'll have 3 sites open by December, half a dozen open by the end of Feb, and we'll actually be our own first users. And in doing that, we're basically trying to create what we want, which therefore we hope means we think what other people want in the future.
Nice, you love to hear that. So there are two, because I was chatting to Luke previously about the business model for this thing, right? So I'm trying to work out. I thought that you had the saunas. I thought that that would be a core part of it, where yes, we're going to build the saunas, we're going to charge people to come in, like an entry fee, whatever, 10 quid for an hour. I don't know how much the sauna costs today, but similar thing where it's just like you charge per price, like hourly usage base, and then you also have this OS layer that I actually thought was, for some reason in my mind, thought it was a consumer product where you can sort of track your own sauna, my personal exposure to cold or heat. But is what you're saying it's more for the business side? So a business will track metrics for their saunas, or do you know what I mean? Is it which side is it a focus on?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's probably a bit confusing at the moment. It makes sense in my head at least, and maybe eventually it'll make sense in others. I mean, in really simple terms, at the moment, the kind of operating system layer is one. Our customer is the business. In other words, if you're a if you're a sauna operator, I beg your pardon, or you're a business that has gyms or sports clubs that wants to put this in, you will use our software stack basically. But part of the software stack that we'll give you is an end user experience, which includes all the things that you mentioned. So one of the pitches that we have to the customers on that side is your users will get a much richer experience than they will elsewhere. They'll be able to do lots more. They'll be able to track wearable information. They'll be able to, meet people through the sort of social element of saunas using the application as well. But to start with, we're coming through the commercial route. Now, in the future, who knows about whether or not we'd want to do some sort of domestic offering as well if you have a home sauna appliance. But we're not trying to go to market via consumers.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense, and probably the
I think it's also
way
probably the smart route, obviously, because you're trying to build where other people are, right? And tennis clubs and all this kind of all the clubs and all that kind of stuff is where people are. So I think it's super smart. Are you seeing the obviously health kind of startups, but just general health in the younger demographic has kind of boomed over the past 3 years? Was that one of the reasons to kind of go and start something like Lolu?
I don't know if I'm going to be kind of hung up for this answer, but my honest opinion is that the health benefits of sauna are massively secondary to the fact that it just makes you feel good. So it's so much simpler to explain to someone the kind of after effect of coming out of a sauna and cold plunge and essentially just feeling almost like you're having a natural high. And that to me was what got me really hooked when I lived in Finland. That's the thing that I think actually people come back for. Obviously there are health benefits. There are plenty of people out there talking about health benefits, and the health benefits are really exciting. And there's a ton of kind of early research, which is still in that sort of early phase. So there is quite a lot more still to be done there. But obviously the early signs are interesting. But the reality is you can't really feel your cardiovascular health improving by 0.01%, but you can feel amazing. And so for me, it was really simple in that realized how good it made me feel. And I realized that when I had friends come and visit me out in Finland, it would be the same for them. They wouldn't be doing it because of the fact that it maybe marginally reduced, your cortisol levels. Although they were doing it for that in a way, but they were doing that as a sort of secondary effect. But the real effect was just the fact that they made them feel great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that it will, it will continue to, the health benefits will continue to come out. That will continue to be a big part. But I'm not personally here to kind of tell people, you can never go to the pub again. You should start optimizing every single microsecond of your life. I think that's unrealistic. And I think that that's not really a particularly kind of inclusive message to send out. But what I will say is that whoever you are, if you try it and do it properly, it will make you feel good.
Which is that's a good message to send home, right? Like, we could probably sit here for a while and talk about, like, I go to the sauna very often. Like, I'll go to the sauna every time I go to the gym. I'll go to the sauna afterwards. But what I can't seem to find anywhere is a good cold plunge. I have like, there's like a cold shower type thing, and you get the same thing based off that, right? Like, I think there was something about cold exposure, particularly like if you're whatever it is, hot bath in the sauna, and then you go and have like some sort of extreme cold exposure. It was something to do with like the dopamine that's released in your body. If you look at like the multiple that it increases per let's say like of a unit of 1, right? You eat chocolate and it's 2x. You do something that you like to do, like go on a run or something, it's 2x as well. But the fall off curve of like the dopamine, it spikes and then it drops off. I think cocaine as well was like 2x, similar to chocolate. But every single time you do this, like it spikes and then it plummets. With a cold shower, it was something like 4.5x, and then the half-life of that like longevity of the dopamine in your system, it stretched over 4 hours instead of like how long do you enjoy a piece of chocolate? I guess as long as it's in your mouth, like 2 minutes, 1 minute. But like that particularly was something that got me hooked into the space where I was like, that sounds insane. Like, why is everyone not just starting their day off with like a massive, huge like sauna/cold plunge, which I guess is maybe traditional in Nordic areas and in Scandinavia, right? And I think, like, coming on to that as well, what you seem to be describing is more of like a community element to it, and more like meet your friends there, have fun there, gather there. This is somewhere you don't have to replace the pub with it, but why don't you have a few drinks and then go to that? Maybe that's kind of dangerous, I don't know. But like, it seems more of a community approach and a feel-good thing, which is really cool. And I guess that's like correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe taken from the experience and the culture that you were kind of immersed with in Finland.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a danger, particularly when we all work in the sort of world of tech and venture capital and all this good stuff, of being stuck in a bit of a bubble. And you sort of see articles about how young people are going to pubs less, and now everyone's abandoning pubs all of a sudden. And that it's really easy to start kind of getting drawn into this trap of like hyperbole, which I think in reality, in like the real world, if you just walk around the streets of London after work on a Wednesday, pubs are still busy. Like the world hasn't changed that dramatically. And so for me, the message that I think is much more powerful is actually the fact that it's an activity that if you add it to your weekly routine, in general, your mood will be better, your sleep will be better, you'll feel better. Worrying too much about trying to replace something with it, or saying how, this is transforming the way in which, society is going to exist. I mean, maybe that's true, but that feels like quite a long-term sort of story. And trying to get a mate of yours who's not been before to go down to the sauna, you're not going to convince them by getting too much into the weeds of talking about the half-life of dopamine. Well, with all due respect, like, I'm not saying that in a rude way. It's more the fact that, like, I think the reality is what actually attracts people is the fact that you just feel, it's a really hard thing to explain, but you just feel really amazing afterwards. And, I'm always slightly nervous about getting too much into the weeds of the biology and of the sort of science behind it, in part because I'm not a biologist and I'm not a scientist. I know a little bit, probably more than an average person, but no doubt I'd end up saying something that's slightly wrong. But what I can say as like just a normal person who went through the same journey that lots of other people are going through, is that social element and that kind of making it a part of your weekly routine with, you know, a partner, with mates, with on your own, it doesn't really matter. You know, that is something that I'm 100% sure everyone can benefit from. And I'm much more interested in the idea of creating something that I believe everyone in society, doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, you can go and you can and do, and will make you feel great, you know, in a world where kind of everyone's talking about how we're having a mental health crisis, and there are, you know, lots of reasons for everyone to be feeling worried about what's going on. It's just one nice little sort of haven.
Love that.
I mean,
How are you
gotta
getting
go
that
there.
message like out to consumers? I guess like that's not really like the GTM strategy here, right? But are you trying to get that out just through like branding and messaging on websites and stuff? What's the...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we're basically trying to position ourselves as a brand in this space. You know, there are other sauna cold plunge companies out there who have physical spaces who I think definitely do go for either the more sort of biohacky, health optimizing angle, you know, or it's a bit sort of like find your calm, find your mindfulness, which, you know, is sort of one of those two, what I would maybe consider slight extremes. I would like us to create a brand that just feels relatable and normal, and that we're not trying to sort of over exaggerate the fact that, you know, if you go to sauna suddenly you're not going to die anymore. It will basically make your life, I think, slightly better, and I think it will improve it. But I just think that kind of tone of voice of feeling a bit real is what we're going for. And obviously our following right now is minuscule. We're hoping it will slowly grow, and we want to try and keep that sort of brand, that sort of culture from the start.
And that, sorry, go on.
I was going to ask about the content and about your following. When now you've raised this money, like, you know, you've raised this pre-seed, what's the plan in terms of like hires? Are you looking into like, you know, a lot of content? Are you you know, bringing videographers or editors in house? How are you kind of going about like growing as quickly as you possibly can?
Well, that's an ongoing question. My latest least bad answer, I suppose, is for now, quite a lot of what we're focusing on the marketing side is going to be on partnerships and influencers, and, you know, using the fact that we have a product that as an influencer you kind of want to use. We have we've got quite a nice piece of leverage within our product, which makes quite a nice natural sort of viral effect. So we're focusing quite a lot on that. You know, in terms of super high quality content, we're quite lucky that some of our investors are pro athletes who I guess are sort of early adopters in this space, which again is quite serendipitous. Like, yeah, most of the athletes out there are doing this already as part of their routine because they've been told they need to, for, you know, the more sort of recovery, like legit sort of scientific reasoning. And so, you know, I can't name any names right now, but we will end of the year, kind of beginning of next year, be releasing some content with a couple of our sports athlete investors, which will be, you know, them talking a little bit about how it's helped them, you know, at the very top of international sport. So that's quite an exciting piece of content that we're going to do, which will feel super professional. And other than that, I mean, most of what we're going to be doing in terms of content creation will be done on an iPhone. You know, much like the video that we created for our launch video, which obviously you mentioned was a bit tongue in cheek. Most of it we think we'll do using an iPhone. Like, it will be relatively, you know, low budget content, because again, I think we want to try and create that sense of sauna and cold plunge being a normal thing, rather than being, you know, this overly aspirational and overly expensive concept. One of the things that I find really frustrating, or found really frustrating when I moved back to the UK, was the sauna and cold plunge options out there. I mean, you mentioned having one at the gym. Some gyms obviously luckily do have those, but for most sort of sauna cold plunge options out there, you're looking at paying 20, 30, even £40 for a session, and that to me is just massively prohibitive. So yeah, kind of our brand is very much around it being a tenner and therefore being something that you can do more regularly, and the content will hopefully reflect that.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I mean, where can we help send people? Do you want people? I'm just looking at the clock, and we've hit time. But can we send people to a website? Is there a wait list? Is it maybe social pages, LinkedIn, X perhaps? Where can we send people?
Yeah, I mean, I think for now, our website, lolu.com, is a pretty good place to start. And otherwise, our Instagram page, which is lolu_sauna. Through those for now, you'll basically be able to track how we're getting on. We've got a site open in Wandsworth. We're opening a site in Kentish Town in the next few weeks, and then another one in Ilford in early December, and then one in Shepherd's Bush at the end of the year, and so on and so forth. So depending on where you are in London, we will have one which is a reasonable journey away within about 2 months. So that's probably where you can get us.
You love to hear
Thanks, guys.
something that a land bike can't handle. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the stream. It was so good to have you. You heard it, guys. Lolu.com. I guess keep us posted on when the sites get deployed, and open seat for whenever you want to come back.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
Good
Good,
stuff.
Tom.
Great
Nice
to
one,
meet
mate. All the best.
Amazing. What a great show. The show that featured our first exclusive guest, Max at Lagora. Final congratulations to them. Just a word on our sponsors, Jack and Jill. Don't miss the unmissable jobs at the hottest companies. Jack and Jill will listen to what you want and search thousands of new jobs every hour to find the job opportunities worth seeing. Go to jackandjill.ai.
Let me tell you about my friends over there at Fora. Work from home at work. Workspaces to make your everyday extraordinary.
Oh, you changed it around.
Yeah, I just had a little flippy flip there.
Private offices, whole floors, or dedicated desk. Fora offers workspace solutions for teams of all sizes. Go to foraspace.com. And that is the show.